Clark Club membership to be sure you're covered. Call 277-2125. Better call Clark. Alabama certification number 09098.
Hi, everybody. Our wetter than normal pattern continues, and our break from the extreme heat also continues. High temperature in the upper 80s again today, upper 80s to near 90 tomorrow and Wednesday. Nighttime lows in the low 70s. And again, each day, a better than normal chance of showers and thunderstorms. A generous supply each day, especially in the afternoon and evening hours. Some storms put on a show with some very heavy downpours, lots of lightning, gusty winds, and not much change on Thursday, Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Do you have big plans this summer? Dive into summer with an ASE Credit Union vacation loan. Whether you've got a trip coming up, projects at home, or just need a little extra cash, we've got you covered. So don't put your plans on hold. Visit yourasecu.com or stop by and see us today.
1819 News.
Jennifer L. Collins, who claims to be an adjunct professor at the University of Alabama, posted on Facebook that former President Donald Trump had it coming regarding the recent assassination attempt. Collins suggesting the attempt was staged, mocking the event and implying Trump was to blame. Her profile, however, does not match any official faculty listings at the university. Following the controversial posts, the university confirmed that Collins is no longer employed there, but it did not specify the reason for her departure. More Alabama news to come after this.
Where I was living was not a great place to live anymore. I began to pray for a place to go, praying for all of these things that a 9-year-old would want. I wanted horses, big house with a bunch of people my age. I wanted parents. I wanted a mom and a dad. Before I even prayed it, the Lord had already answered my prayer with the Big Oak Ranch. Who would that 9-year-old be if she never came to the Big Oak Ranch? I would be trying to fight for survival instead of fighting to break a cycle.
Big Oak Ranch, a Christian home for children needing a chance.
Guntersville is investing $20 million to renovate and improve its parks and recreational facilities. Recent upgrades include Phase 2 of the Guntersville Rec Center, which features a splash pad and 2 new ball fields. The city is also focusing on revitalizing areas along Lake Guntersville coastline, including demolishing and rebuilding the Rotary Cabin and Pavilion. State Superintendent Dr. Eric Mackey plans to recommend state intervention in Bessemer City Schools due to ongoing issues with the district's governance and facilities. The State Board of Education voting on this recommendation in August. Filling in for Andrea Tice, I'm Tim Berg.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
Craving authentic Italian? Every Friday and Saturday evening, Epicure and Jack's Tavern transforms into an Italian paradise. From homemade pasta to classic Italian specialties, let them transport you to Italy. Their executive chef, Glenn Tarantino, crafts every dish to perfection.
Discover a world of exquisite wines at Epicure and Jack's Tavern. From La Crema to Camus, enjoy their full line of wines at below retail prices, perfect for dine-in or carry-out. Savor the flavors of top-tier wines without breaking the bank. Experience the wine wonderland at Epicure and Jack's Tavern.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by go. You know the thing.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into News and Views in the afternoon, or as we're calling this thing online, Joey Clark Live. Eddie Vader's in the studio with me. Eddie, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Joey?
I'm doing all right. And, well, we have some guests to kick off this huge news day. Joe Biden stepping aside, but really, did Joe step aside?
Have you seen him lately?
Proof of life, anybody?
That's what I'm asking for.
Proof of life. Also, Secret Service Director Kim Cheadle is testifying.
Yeah.
Barely testifying.
This morning, yeah.
Oh, that's frustrating. One member of Congress, one of my favorites, Anna Paulina Luna, said, I walked out of there thinking, okay, the guy didn't act alone, the shooter.
Yeah. How would you feel otherwise?
And so there's so much to get to also with the political fallout up and down the ballots when it comes to this November with who will be the Democrats' nominee. So joining us now, we have some special guests. We have Brylan Hollyhand alongside another familiar face. We have Caroline Dobson and Brylan Hollyhand. Hey, guys, how are y'all doing today?
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you. Great to see y'all.
Yeah, great to see you. So, Brylan, I kind of want to give you the floor because I've talked to Caroline many a time. I love her very much. But what do you got to say today?
Yeah, I have some more news to break for you just to add to this crazy cycle. But Caroline and I were together last week in Milwaukee at the convention. And obviously the focus there was on the presidential race. All eyes were on the top of the ticket. But on the way down the ticket is so important. And if we take back the House or take back the Senate and take back the White House, it's not important unless we take back the House and continue to have really, really strong conservative fighters, young conservative fighters coming up that represent this generation. So excited to announce today that I'm endorsing Caroline Dobson for Alabama District 2. She's a fighter. She's going to represent my generation on Capitol Hill so strong when she's sworn in January. And it's great to see more young people running. I mean, I've been on your show countless times, encouraging young people to get involved. Having a young candidate here in this district could not be more important. I mean, Joey, you're seeing it constantly. You were just talking about it with what's going on in the news cycle today, but there's a lot of chaos on the left. And my generation's tired of chaos. We're tired of the DNC candidates constantly bringing chaos to America, constantly perpetrating chaos in our country. Here's a stability candidate, one that can actually bring stability not only to our state, but to Washington, D.C. She can also bring sanity, which is something that Capitol Hill is missing greatly. And so I couldn't be more excited to endorse her and make it official on your show.
Well, that's awesome to hear. Well, Caroline, what's your reaction to the day's events and what happened this weekend?
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much, Brylan, for your endorsement. That truly means the world. And I'm so grateful for Brylan for being a face for young conservatives. As we were talking earlier, you know, a lot of folks want to say, oh, Gen Z, they're a bunch of snowflakes. And that's just because that's who the Democrats give airtime to. But there is such a growing group of young conservatives who are tenacious, so intelligent, like Brylan, and really resilient. You know, I think about Brylan was born in the wake of 9/11, was a child during the financial crisis of the late aughts, and then lived through COVID too at a very transformative time in his youth. So again, there are a lot of really resilient fighters in this youngest generation that now have a face and a voice. And so really grateful to have Brylan's support, and the youth vote is going to be key in this election. But to get back to yours, I wanted to first.
Oh no, that's awesome. Go ahead.
But to get to your question, no, I mean, I did not think this cycle could get any crazier. And then in the past 9 days, it has just spiraled into really kind of a surreal state of events. But yes, no, I called for President Biden to not, if he doesn't have capacity to run as a candidate, he really should not be serving as our commander in chief. This is we always refer to the time between November and January as the lame duck period. I don't know what you refer to this, the lame lion period. I mean, it's like, if you're our leader, we've got basically, 8 months where we're telling the world, oh, here, come attack us, because we don't have a leader with capacity right now. So if he can't fight the race, he really needs to step down.
Well, and I think Vivek Ramaswamy said it. He got on the jump on this, but when he said we're not running against a candidate, we're running against a system. He also said, to your point about Brylan, Caroline, that Gen Z is probably going to be the generation that truly saves us. And I know both of y'all were there at that convention for the Republicans last week. What are sort of the highlights from y'all's own experience there?
Yeah, we saw a lot of unity, which was great to see. I mean, we were just talking, there's been some tough primaries on our side in the past few months. and seeing everybody come together united as one, especially the events leading into convention. I mean, really kind of, suck the oxygen out of the room to show us that, hey, this isn't politics, this is family. We're a family on the Republican side. In a week where the Dems continued to be in disarray, where chaos was perpetrated on their side constantly, and even more chaos since we've left Milwaukee, we were unified. And that's what my generation wants. We're tired of chaos. We want unity. I mean, just in Caroline's district, she has two really major universities, Troy and South Alabama, and a lot of other community college. These are young people who are seeing the same news that we're seeing every single day, that are seeing the constant cycle of chaos on the left. Caroline can bring stability. She can bring sanity. We're going to be speaking with those campuses soon to make sure that they get the vote out for Caroline on November 5th. It's so important. Just this past weekend, I went up to Coleman and was at Rock the South speaking to the 35,000 young patriots that were there. And the big push there was to get people to register to vote. And so absolutely anybody watching your show right now can go to vote.gop to register to vote for Caroline, because it's so important that young people are registered and they mark their calendars for November 5th to vote for it.
Yes, sir. And Caroline, any big memories from this convention?
Well, I mean, you mentioned Vivek, and I thought his speech was actually one of my favorites. He did a tremendous job of talking about battling the administrative state, which we've talked about so frequently. And then you look at, the Washington insiders leading in Washington continuing to go on rampant spending sprees, and then looking at, us, the younger, and say, well, why can't you get it together? Why can't you move out of your parents' home and buy a house? Well, we can't because of inflation and rising interest rates. The fact that for the average family of four, like mine, we're paying $950 or more per month for just basic living costs than we were when Biden took office. So again, I think there was certainly a lot of unity, and I would say just a sense of purpose. We're all here together to take back America. There was almost sort of religious undertones about being there together on a mission, and acknowledging that, we have different backgrounds and maybe we have different perspectives on foreign policy or cryptocurrency or, a lot of the other issues. But at the end of the day, we are the party for making America stronger, making America safer, returning America to the principles of our founding fathers. And we've got to be in this together. And I think, even like Brylan was saying, even on a microcosm level, Alabama, District 1, there was a really bloody primary between Jerry Carl and Barry Moore, both wonderful men, fine public servants. They were both there at the convention, and certain members of the party had backed either one of them. Everyone was there together, unified. And so I think that's just an example of how, as a whole, as a nation, those that were at the convention were really committed to ensuring that we're in this together.
Well, and Caroline, I don't know if you know, but last Monday around this time, we had Dick Brubaker on the show to talk about many things, but he said he is outright voting for you. I know it was a tough primary, but he said that, I'm obviously voting for Caroline. So to that unity point, even your former opponent is now saying, you know what, I've definitely got to vote for her.
Well, that's very, very gracious of him. And I certainly admire all of his years of public service. And again, Brylan and I were also speaking. It's so important that we have a mix. We're certainly not saying that we should abolish the old guard by any means, but we've got to have more young people stepping up so we can learn from those that are of the older generation. We've got, we may have more energy or stamina. They've got more wisdom. And so we need everyone at the table. And that's why I think it's so important that for years now, Brylan has been a voice and someone, again, young conservatives need someone that they can look to. They need to see themselves and know that they're not alone. It can be very isolating for me, certainly in college at Harvard. It's very isolating to be a conservative. And so the more and more young conservatives that step out there, it gives courage and empowerment to other young conservatives to be active and be engaged.
Absolutely. And to that point, Joey, just this week in Milwaukee, I can't tell you the countless young people that walk up to me and said, oh, I want to get involved in politics, but I'm too scared to speak out. I'm scared to even post something on my Instagram story. And I was so proud to be an Alabamian to simply point to the debate stage and say, look at Katie Britt, a 41-year-old up there speaking, and look at Caroline Dobson running in this race, to have young people actually representing. It's not just us saying that young people should run. Here in Alabama, we're actually doing it. We have young people running, and it's so cool to see that. And it's going to be an inspiration to younger people to actually step up and enter politics, because young people like Caroline are entering.
Well, and it seems like there are a few things that have gotten out of the hands of, say, corporate media and those that like to control information. For instance, of course, there's nothing, I'm repeating what a lot of other folks said. I've never seen anything like when Donald Trump gets shot, then stands up, his face bloodied, and pumps his fist in the air. And that is, they're now MLB players and during the baseball games pumping their fist after a home run. It's really become a viral thing. But then last night I also watched Hillbilly Elegy about J.D. Vance's life, also young man, only 39. And that is now up something like 1,100% on Netflix streaming, #1 on Amazon book list. So it seems like not only is this election look bright, that everyday people across the generations are sort of waking up to these people, to the human side of both these candidates.
No, absolutely. And J.D. Vance will be 40 years old when he's sworn in January. He'll be taking over Joe Biden's 40-year career in Washington, D.C. And so really the contrast couldn't be more stark there. I watched that on the plane ride back from Milwaukee because I, again, didn't know too much about J.D. Vance. I've heard a lot about the book and the movie and was like, okay, he's the VP candidate. I've got to look into him now. I mean, there's no other better time. And was blown away by the story. It was so insightful. Again, just to see young people really stepping up and making a change and having them both serve in Washington together is going to be incredible. And we just have to get all the other young voters who are out there so concerned about, again, DC just being filled of the corrupt bureaucrats to actually vote for a younger candidate. You have the opportunity to make history here and to really change the status quo. Take advantage of that. Register to vote. Make sure you vote for Caroline because we have the opportunity to really change the game here, and we don't want to, take it for granted.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate y'all's time today. I appreciate you endorsing Caroline Bryland. I think this is a huge deal. I appreciate both the work all of you are doing all over the place. It really is a lot. And if folks want to kind of keep up, if they're just hearing this interview, just where can they follow you guys, support your campaign, Caroline, and support what you're doing, Bryland?
Yes, so you can find our website. It's Dobson for Congress, and we're also on Truth Social, X, Instagram, and Facebook, Dobson for Congress.
Yeah, make sure you follow her on there. We're about to film some stuff together and get some content out because we're excited. Again, social media is so important, so we'll be following her there.
Well, I appreciate both of you. I hope to see y'all in person sometime soon.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Again, folks, that is Caroline Dobson, Bryland Hollihan. Bryland giving an endorsement there. Younger folks coming on board. And I mean, Eddie, what do you make of this moment? Because our heads are starting to spin from all this news. For instance, Richard Simmons died on the wrong day.
Right.
Like a few hours later, took a shot. Lou Dobbs just passed away.
Yeah.
So Bob Newhart.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah.
The world keeps turning. History keeps happening.
It does. It does.
But what's your reaction to Biden is no longer going to be in the race?
Called it.
Yeah, you're right. Well, it wasn't just us. It was a lot of smart folks on the right who were calling this over a year ago.
Called it. Said he'd be out by Monday. He was out. I was 12 hours.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, you won that bet against Craig. We got to go eat sometime.
Yep. But you know what taught me that? College football.
Oh, really?
The more they deny that they're leaving, they're not going to leave, and you're my team, the quicker they're out the door, buddy.
Apparently there was a report that from a Democratic insider who said that Nancy Pelosi told Biden and team, we'll give you 3 weeks to do this the easy way. And if not, then we'll do it the hard way. Which is like, what the heck does crazy Nancy mean?
I kind of feel like they've been negotiating probably for the last 2 weeks. That they knew he was leaving, and it was a matter of Biden saying, this is what I want to get me out.
Well, and we actually have a local gentleman who is tapped into the Democratic Party, Joe Emery, joining us again on the show. We had a lot of fun with Joe last time, so look forward to having him back on. And apparently he has some insights into why was this triggered yesterday afternoon. So I'm looking forward to that.
How would you have liked to have been any of Biden's spokespeople that have been swearing for the last a month, 2 months? He's in. He's solid.
Oh, yeah.
He's our guy.
Oh, yeah. No, and the internet is undefeated, especially on all this, whether it's memes about Kamala Harris or folks just making a lot of fantastic points. So wait, he is not fit to run for a second term.
That's what I've been saying.
And ... By the way, I'm endorsing Harris. I'm like, well, I don't think it's a done deal. There are a lot of folks coming out to support Kamala Harris, but it looks like there are other major Democratic backers and party members that want a more open convention.
I think Biden was watching the Hulkster.
Yeah, and that's when he just gave up. I like that time. We can't prove if that's true.
Sure, his timing on that is questionable.
I like that timeline. I like that timeline a lot.
You know, people respect the Hulkster.
And then, of course, Donald Trump is really kind of enjoying himself.
Oh, I bet right now.
These days.
Yeah.
I've been kind of amazed. He really is. I mean, he's still himself, still calling her Crazy Nancy, and he's not real impressed with Kamala Harris. We'll get to some of the golden oldies there,
man.
But here's Trump over the weekend at his rally making fun of himself.
You know, I have to just interject. If you would turn off those cameras, because I don't want this. See the screen up there of me? That's very severe, that comb over. That's a severe sucker. What's with that one? It looks okay from the other side. But that is very severe. I apologize. Man, I looked up there. I said, whoa. Look at that. Wow. That's like a work of art.
I don't think I've ever seen or heard him publicly make fun of himself like that.
Not like that, I have not.
And
but,
then,
you know, more and more people that have known him for a while keep coming out and saying he's the funniest person I know.
And then he isn't done. Same rally.
Oh, boy.
Look at the great results that we had on immigration. Just look at them. If I didn't say that, because we had like a crane holding this massive sign. I call it the $1 million sign. That they're expensive. But that sign was very good. I think I'm going to sleep with it tonight. I'm going to sleep with it tonight. I said, what was that? What was that?
Wow.
He's in rare form, man.
Wow.
Like, you can tell he's having the time of his life.
Oh, yeah.
And it's very much that Phoenix effect, I believe. Like, you have a brush with death. It makes you appreciate being alive.
Got to.
And it kind of brings you down a peg, too. But we mentioned it earlier. Vivek Ramaswamy, folks, well, he really called this. The few months back, I think it was all the way back in November, that Ramaswamy called this. And folks saying, you know, you owe Vivek an apology for not listening to him and making fun of him as a conspiracy theorist. This is what he said on that debate stage.
I also want to close with one message to the Democrat Party. End this farce that Joe Biden is going to be your nominee. We know he's not even the president of the United States. He's a puppet for the managerial class. So have the guts to step up and be honest about who you're actually going to put up so we can have an honest debate. Biden should step aside, end his candidacy now so we can see whether it's Newsom or Michelle Obama or whoever else.
All right,
just
Mr.
tell us the
Ramaswamy,
truth so we can have an
your
honest
time is
debate.
Called it on a national debate stage. And then RFK Jr. coming out and saying the DNC tried to rig the nominating process.
They have.
And I think it's just a fact, or maybe a very likely outcome, that if they had allowed RFK to actually compete against Biden, RFK might be their nominee. But of course, the insiders and the power brokers of the Democratic Party can't have that.
What if those two would have debated a long time ago? I mean, there's no doubt that's what they did. And I also will say that the reason Joe Biden's stepping down is because the assassination attempt on Trump didn't go as planned.
Ooh,
yeah.
Straight fire. Yeah. Well, this Secret Service Director Cheadle is not making people feel better.
Oh, I bet not.
Man. We've got the clips ready to go, and we'll play them a little later in the show. She's not answering a single question.
Well, there's only 8 days in, Joey, so we're still doing our investigation, and we can't tell you anything.
Like, if there's no conspiracy, she's not helping.
How you know?
Like, she's not putting people at ease. But before we hit this break, just remember, folks, that whether it's Kamala or somebody else, I think Donald Trump was ready to go with this.
She has some bad moments. Her moments are almost as bad as his. I think his are worse, actually.
Yeah.
But
she seems pretty senile, too.
She speaks in rhyme.
That's the part.
It's weird. It's weird.
It's weird.
But she has bad moments. And
in rhyme? What do you...
Well, the way she talks, the bus will go here and then the bus will go there because that's what buses do. And it's weird.
Very comical to me.
Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Dennis Mitchell, guys.
Hey, Dennis. How you doing, buddy? How you doing?
Good. I tell you, it's been a crazy 24 hours, man. It's unreal.
It's been a crazy 2 weeks.
Well.
And you think it's crazy now, Dennis? Just wait. I got a feeling it's only going to get crazier.
Well, tell me this. Let's play hypothetical.
Okay.
We're at the Democratic convention next month. Let's say Kamala is not the nominee. Who do you think the dark horse will be? If she's not the nominee.
Ooh, that's hard to know. Like Newsom is a pretty powerful pick. I know Andy Beshear, the governor of Kentucky, was hitting J.D. Vance pretty hard. Maybe he's a president or vice presidential nominee.
Yeah.
There are a lot of younger Democrats whose names have been sort of suppressed because of Biden.
What about Manchin?
No, Manchin said this morning
Not gonna
he
do
is
it?
not going to do it.
That was the only one I was halfway concerned about.
Right. I tell you, guys, this is the first time this has happened since the incumbent president decided not to run since LBJ in '68. You know, except LBJ announced it earlier, a few months earlier than what Biden did.
And he announced it himself right from the Oval Office.
Yeah, you think Biden really wrote that letter?
No.
Yeah, I tell you, I hate to see Joe Biden's really in bad shape right now. Do y'all think he might have Parkinson's too, you think?
I'm not even sure. It's something, I think, that's causing a neurological decline.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it is, though.
I know telling, guys. Well, guys, it's been a while, and I hope y'all have a good rest of the day.
Thank you. Thank you, Dennis. Take care, buddy.
Let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, Joe, it's Charlie, buddy. I got a question.
Hey, Charlie.
I just caught the tail end of Scott saying something about someone at Alabama at the university made a comment that Trump deserved to be shot. Who was he referring to?
It was some adjunct professor there at the university. Here, let me.
Yeah, 1819 had
let
a
me
story
see.
about it. I think he's already been terminated.
Yeah.
Has he been terminated?
Yep.
Well, it's not a him. It's a post by Jennifer L. Collins, who claimed to be an adjunct professor at U of A, in which she insinuated that the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump was staged, while suggesting he had it coming.
Yeah.
Man, what's wrong with these people, y'all? I mean, it just blows my mind. Well, that's all. I just caught the tail end. I just wanted to know, but idiot out here, that's crazy. Who in the world in their right mind would say something like that? I don't know. Anyway, okay, thank y'all.
Hey, thank you, Charlie.
We do have to hit this break, but first, this part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services. And they're at Pest Pro. Ashley and her fantastic team are ready to help you.
Yeah, they are.
Whether you have a specific job to get done, like termite inspection or treatment, or maybe mosquito treatment.
Yes.
Eddie swears by
I
it.
do.
Yeah, I mean, you're like in Mosquito Central up there by the lake.
I'm on the water, surrounded by woods with more water.
Right.
Yeah.
But you don't have an issue since they've treated it.
I don't, man. And like I said, usually towards the end of the treatment, I'll start seeing a couple mosquitoes, and I usually give them a holler, and they're honestly, the last 2 times, they're like, well, actually, we're on our way today.
All right.
And then after they come, and this was my biggest concern, whatever they were spraying, I was worried, well, if it rains, it's just going to go away. It has not. It sticks around the entire time.
And so, of course, they can help you with that. Or if you're just looking for an everyday pest control company, somebody that's local folks who are good at what they do that you can trust, that's Pest Pro Services. So give them a call, 265-9990. That's 265-9990. Or you can always go to ppsriverregion.com or just search Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces. When you want to know, call a pro. Pest Pro Services. And be sure to tell Ashley and that great team that Joey and Eddie, those fellas on the radio, sent you.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
It's Lee Come Key.
Welcome back to the Lee Come Key request line. Ready for something with a kick that's still smooth? Talk about a hot time at dinner time. This is America's #1 spicy mayo and non-GMO verified sriracha. It's the Sriracha Slide coming at you from Lee Come Key. Sriracha Slide on over to srirachalove.com to check it out.
Sriracha real smooth.
Broken bricks, falling fences, damaged doors, Gorilla Glue. Of course. It's incredibly strong and 100% waterproof and bonds, well, virtually everything. While you're at it, look for Gorilla Tape, a heavy-duty double-thick duct tape, and Gorilla Super Glue, great for all your quick fixes and repairs. There's also Gorilla Epoxy, Gorilla Wood Glue, Gorilla Construction Adhesive, of course. You get it. If you can break it, Gorilla can fix it. For the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. At PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
Make 2024 the year you break away from the chain stores and join us here at Adams Drugs. We value your business and want to provide you the best customer service at the lowest possible price. We've been serving up excellent customer service here in the River region for over 62 years.
I made the swap to Adams Drugs and I couldn't be happier. Having their job and then getting 3 kids to all of their activities keeps me busy. I don't have an hour to waste waiting on a prescription. At Adams, they know me and my family. I get in and out in minutes, and when I can't get by Adams, they'll bring the prescription right to my door.
What are you waiting for? Come in to Adams Drugs and let us earn your business. Our friendly and personal staff will talk with you and answer any questions you may have about your prescriptions. Your satisfaction is our #1 goal. Visit us at adamsdrugs.net for the location nearest to you. Adams Drugs is your local independent Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money?
Well, like most smart folks, we call David Ernest.
You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist?
That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839.
I see.
Yes, he is our preferred money man.
The money man with the money plan.
You've been paying attention.
Well, could you give us those numbers one more time?
334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man.
Oh, what's that?
I'm not an elk.
Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you?
Knights of Columbus.
I am not even going to make a comment.
Well, the baby liked it.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Riverside Chevrolet Wetumpka. If it's Chevy, it's Riverside. Best price, best selection. Check them out on the web at riversideusa.net.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Hi, everybody. Our wetter than normal pattern continues, and our break from the extreme heat also continues. High temperature in the upper 80s again today, upper 80s to near 90 tomorrow and Wednesday. Nighttime lows in the low 70s. And again, each day, a better than normal chance of showers and thunderstorms. A generous supply each day, especially in the afternoon and evening hours. Some storms put on a show with some very heavy downpours, lots of lightning, gusty winds, and not much change on Thursday, Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
For the lowest prices around on flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies, Budget Floors and More is your new best friend. Luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, floor installation supplies, and more with prices lower than the big box stores. Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey Publix.
On FM, on your smartphone, and online, the River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Eddie Bader still in the house. And now, as promised, right across the desk from me, we have Joe M. Reed rejoining the show. Hey, Joe, how you doing today?
Hey, Joe, how you doing?
I'm all right. So, huge news yesterday in the middle of a Sunday afternoon. President Biden, announcing he will not seek a second term. He is stepping aside from his campaign. It was done over Twitter. Like it was a picture of a letter stepping aside. Then shortly after that, I believe President Biden endorsed Kamala Harris. So I'm wondering what happened here. Do you have any insights into how this all played out?
I think we've watched it unfold over the last 3 weeks since the debate. But I think a lot of it tracks back even a couple of years, even before that. And probably, I think when he once he got elected, people started talking about it then. If you decide, once the talk about a run for re-election came up, and you want to say that's usually 2022, then everyone starts to do the math and starts to say, okay, well, you will be this, age at this particular point in time. Do you think, can he do it? And, going back even to, the age issue, even with, I think the first time it probably came up in what I call modern history was when Reagan was running against, I think, Mondale. And they brought up President Reagan's age then, and Mondale looked a little younger at the time, and Reagan's famous comedic quote was, "I won't take my opponent's youthful inexperience and won't hold it against him," or something to that effect. So, it came up then, but I think folks have been talking about that for a while. And I think after the debate, and I also think, Mitch McConnell, these things keep things out there like that. So you had Mitch McConnell, you had President Biden, but certainly the debate, and that really did it. And so since that time, there's just been this, I almost say I told you so, but okay, we got to deal with this, or this is an issue, and no one ever stopped talking about it, even his friends.
Well, and there were a lot of folks on the right who called this a long time ago, and it wasn't just, Joe Biden's old. There are folks who kind of specifically said he'll be moved out. We just played, for instance, Vivek Ramaswamy on that debate stage last November saying this is what's going to happen. Do you think it goes back that far that there were, because I think of both political parties, but say the Democratic Party isn't just one big happy family all the time. There are different competing interests and cliques and groups.
Always.
So do you think there were folks who are sort of sharpening the knives, for lack of a better term, a while back?
Yes, I think there were people who started to do that math when he first started talking he was going to run, because originally when he ran, he said it was going to be a bridge. And so people were thinking, okay, you're 77 now, you'll be 81. And we kind of started looking who's next. And when I think they expected him probably not to do it, and then when he did it, people start doing that. And in quiet circles, I think some folks always just said it because of the age, and nothing else. And I think even in Alabama, and we were talking about this some time ago, for instance, our judges, I'm gonna dogleg a little bit and come back to you.
Sure.
We have a mandatory retirement for judges of 70 here in Alabama. But the funny thing is, there's no mandatory, what I call retirement for the executive branch or the legislative branch. They can, run until whenever. We've got 80 plus people in the legislature right now. Governor Ivey is, not at her senior prom at this point.
Agreed.
So I think there's always been ageism that's been out there for a long time. And so when you start getting past a certain number, people start, and look, and President Trump is no spring chicken himself.
Right.
Oh, right.
There's an old saying that says that the leaning tree ain't always the first to fall. And so, my dad's 86 years old, but I can count a few friends of mine who've moved on and transitioned, who never made it, past 40.
Oh yeah.
So it's that sort of a thing. But yeah, I think to your point, I don't think it ever went away. And I think when in our age now, with so much media coverage and so much film on people, so many, you can repeat a frame over and over and over. And we're also in a society now, I think, that looks to find something wrong with people, period. We just do.
Yep.
And so, if it's not him, when I say stumbling up the stairs, going to the airport, which can happen to anybody, you can slip getting out of the shower. That doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. I stumbled and going down the front steps of my house, and the steps are, I think, more than 4 or 5 inches, but somehow I missed it and I just did, you know. So, but when you got that, you can play that, you know, that has an effect. And then the other part is sometimes people start throwing stuff out there and then it actually comes true. They don't necessarily believe it when they're saying it, you know, maybe wishful thinking. You know, when I think Ramaswamy was saying that, like he knew, you know, nobody knew.
Right.
It's just a thing that, you know, kind of happened. But
well, and he said in the follow-up that he was just looking at the incentives. And there are also a lot of folks that, and I think J.D. Vance said in his speech, like it's not as much all Democrats bad, though there's plenty of that, the partisan stuff back and forth. Vance said it, you hear people like Ramaswamy say it, that it's the ruling class or it's the ruling elite. And if you start looking at politics as, yes, people vote, we all have our say, but it is an elite insider game in many ways, and people competing against one another, it sort of started to make sense that this might happen, given the realities. It wasn't a guarantee, but it looked like it could easily happen.
You know, I won't tell you that I was not surprised, okay, because I really was. I didn't, people, like I said, people always will bang on you for one reason or another. You got to find something. I mean, so talk about his age and, you know, when I say cognitive abilities, I mean, look, plenty of times people start talking and forget stuff when they're talking. Or, I mean, call you by another name, you know, that you're not. I mean, we've all done that at some point in time. Doesn't mean that we can't handle it. So and I was telling a friend of mine, I said, look, passing the bar right now, I've been practicing for 27 years now. Could I pass the bar right now? Absolutely not.
It'd be tough, right?
It'd be very, very hard for me to do that, but I can handle a case. Why? Because I'm going to be able to sit down, take my time, go through it, consult with other folks about it, and have time to get it done. So I think in terms of whether or not, you know, Biden can still be president, like what some folks are saying, sure, I believe that, because of the people who are around you.
I just don't. And as far as the surprise, to me, the people that have been around him have been lying to us the whole time. It's not like he woke up day of the debate in the state he was in. And as far as, you know, it'd be one thing if he just slipped once, it'd be one thing if he forgot a name once in a while. But when you put all that together, me personally, I see somebody that's been declining steadily, and the decline's only getting worse. So it being my country that's involved, you know, it'd be just like my company. I would not want someone like that in that shape.
I won't disagree with that, because I told someone, you said, well, Biden's not the same as he was 4 years ago. So I told the buddy, man, hell, you ain't the same.
We ain't. You're right. You're exactly right.
You ain't the man. So I won't tell your wife, but she probably said the same
Well,
thing.
if anybody's the same after 4 years, there's something wrong. Are they a vampire? What's going on here?
Something is happening. I get your point. You know, and like I said, who knows about what I call the day-to-day operations? I mean, there were always rumors, even when President Reagan's final term, as to whether Nancy Reagan was running the country,
astrology,
astrology was doing it or not, and there were always those things. But I think, again, presidents by themselves don't ever do anything really alone. They just don't do that. And so you've got plenty of people around, you know. But I think if it had gotten, when I say at 81, does he remember what he did at 71? Probably not. I mean, I don't remember stuff my memory is
remember what I had for breakfast.
I'm trying to figure out what underwear I had on yesterday, if I even wore them, but don't know. I think so, probably. But
Tommy John.
I'm not really sure. But I mean, it's a valid point. It's a valid concern, and those. But that's what politics is. It's about feelings. It's about how people feel and what makes you, you know. And if enough people start thinking that this is serious, then it becomes serious, you know. And so, and I think that groundswell started building, and there was just, you know, this is unprecedented access that people have to politicians now they never had before.
Right.
You know, some folks say that FDR, if he was ever on TV in that wheelchair, he never would have been, you know, president. You know, he couldn't have won those all the times that he did. So when people can see that, you know, and it is. I mean, it is what it is. You know, then that's what you get. And you know, when I think of, but you know, President Trump has had his what I call moment. I can't remember what it was, but he was talking about something. And I was like, what the heck did he just say? But I get that when you're speaking publicly, because sometimes you start thinking about what it is you're going to say.
In your head.
Right, you're getting ahead of where you are, and the brain just gets confused, and that's what you get.
And to Eddie's point, Trump has always struck me as like he was saying stuff like that in 2015. He's been, I think, fairly consistent. even with the rise in age and even with all the Mickey D's and all the other stuff he eats. But okay, so if Biden's out, who is going to be the nominee? I'm seeing a lot of folks throwing support behind Kamala Harris. You think she's a lock?
I think so.
Think so?
I think she's a lock. I don't. I mean, there are optics here.
Yeah.
There are a lot of optics here.
I agree.
And I think how things look. I mean, you're the vice president. I think when people who even don't know you start thinking that is this person going to be that way, then you're the vice president. You're next in line. That's just kind of a natural, normal ascension that we see. You know, kind of like the assistant coach moving to head coach when the head coach is, leaves or whatever happens. That's what we see. So we're used to that sort of a thing. The other thing I think which is key here, which is the people who probably could do it or would be other what I call normally viable candidates have all thrown their support behind her. You know, your Gavin Newsoms have done that. A couple of other folks, I think Shapiro just did it. You know, so other folks are falling. No one's talking about really anybody. The only person folks are talking about is Joe Manchin, but he went from Democrat to Independent. He's got to redo it as Democrat, and he's not going to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm not so sure how the party would necessarily.
Well, and he said it on Morning Joe this morning. He's not going.
He's not going to do it. So he's done. So.
And as we're speaking, Nancy Pelosi just endorsed Kamala Harris.
See, this is what I'm saying. So, this is, and we're in time.
Natural. Yeah, I get it.
Time
and also timing. I mean, I'm sure Kamala didn't know yesterday. Well, knew yesterday, but a few days ago, perhaps that she was going to be thrust in the spotlight. So. What do? You got to go with the horse that the one that brung you, right?
This is one of the. I won't say this is where you are, but this is where you are. And look, the presidency is something that very few people would not want, and particularly if you're in politics. I mean, how do you turn that down?
You don't.
You don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
So I don't. She was going to, I mean, she ran once before, so we all know she's interested in the job.
Well, and I was about to ask about that because when she ran, it did not go very well in the primaries for her.
No, it did not.
So do you think when it's her name on the ballot, she's the lead, like, are you confident, is the Democratic Party confident in her abilities to get out there and campaign?
I think so. I think depending on how you view polls and what you think of polling, the polls are coming back that at least the perception of people in certain demographics have a higher favorability of her than they did President Biden. And again, most of President Biden's issue, I mean, she's his vice president, so his successes are hers, his failures are hers. I mean, that fleas come with the dog.
Right.
But what I call the emotion, of the campaign in terms of how I feel about someone among younger people, they feel more of a connection. So it's kind of like maybe your aunt as opposed to your grandpa.
Right.
You got a different feeling about who's closer connected to you and who can understand you. No matter what political side you're on, you just know who's just closer connected to you.
Gotcha.
And so she, of course, what's the big deal? She looks like she's fitter and healthier and her, if you will, her cognitive abilities are not in question. When I say per se, so you've got that. And so that was the whole point, I think, moving. And so she checks all those little boxes, but being the VP, being this late where there's no time to do anything else.
Right.
Well,
and it is a little bit of whiplash, and maybe it's because I follow it. We look at this stuff every day, though we're not alone, where it's just a few weeks ago. No, Biden, I think Scarborough's on there, just doing what he does, saying, Biden is like at the height of his powers and he's going to whoop Donald Trump and all this stuff. And
pre-debate,
we're sitting here going, this is absurd. And then it was kind of proven out during the debate. So I think there is going to be a little bit of whiplash of like, oh, Biden's great. He's going to beat Trump. And then all of a sudden, nope, he's going to drop out of the race without even saying it himself. I wonder if folks, because I keep quoting Vivek Ramaswamy today, but he's just spot on. He says, we're not running against a candidate, we're running against a system. And it seems like the system that exists with all political parties is a little more naked right now for people to see on the Democratic side of the aisle.
Tell me what you mean by that, because I don't want to miss.
That there was an opportunity to have primaries and vote, and instead it was essentially just ushering Biden through those. And now at the last second, the party elite get to do the switcheroo without the voters weighing in.
Well, I think the thing is that it's not. I want to say that's normal. We just haven't seen it. I mean, when you got an incumbent president I think the last president who said that they were not going to run was, I think, who could have run. I think it was Lyndon Johnson. I think that was 68.
Okay.
Who said that he would not accept the nomination and he wouldn't seek it and would accept it was given to him. He was done. Okay. So you had that. But since then, I don't know. I think from Nixon to Carter, I think, heck, let me just say this. Everybody since Nixon, if they were a sitting president, they ran. And so there was
There's some normalcy there.
Yeah, there wasn't a real primary because that's who.
It was almost a given, was it not?
Right, it's a given, right? That's the lead dog. So we've got a situation where Biden is the presumptive nominee. Okay, kind of know what those were, but presumptive nominee. The convention hasn't met yet. So, here we are. But it's not because there was some conspiracy to do it. It's just, let's hypothesize something for 1 second. What if, he passed? I don't think it's any different than it's still in the same boat. Now you got, he's not there, so someone's got to do that. Now I think so the situation doesn't change. So, it's political insiders have always been around, and now they're no different. Now they come with big wallets.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's what's running this. It's used to be who if you were Richard Daley's. Those folks, had big powerful machines in major cities. Different ball game now. Now it's who can bundle money, who's bundling money.
Right.
You got super PACs. You've got things like that. Those are the things that are running the show now.
Exactly.
From both sides of the aisle, the average individual doesn't factor in. Okay.
Right.
When it comes down to, go back and see when, I think her name was DeVos, if I remember her name, who multi-millionaire, she may have been a billionaire. But
Betsy DeVos.
Betsy DeVos, yeah. Who was Secretary of Education,
yeah.
Whose kids probably never went to public school ever.
Right.
But that's her post. On the Democratic side, you had folks who got ambassadorships to Brazil and to Ireland, depending on who they were, because of how much money they bundled.
Right. Well, I get where I'm coming from is it's easier to see that now more than ever before. And I think some of the impetus for Trump, and there's all sorts of reasons to vote for anybody. And I think there are unique reasons to vote for Trump, but one of them I would put in the stream of, let's just say Elon Musk and his crew, sort of the Twitter crew, is they have been on the receiving end of a lot of the same thing that Trump has. A guy named Eric Weinstein, who's been more traditionally on the left, though then he started being like the managing director for Teal Capital, all this stuff. Brilliant guy. He came up with a term called the DISC, the Distributed Information Suppression Complex. The DISC.
Hadn't heard that, but good.
And he described how when Joe Rogan got too big for his britches, especially during COVID, well, here comes all the attacks just out of the clear blue sky, but it's not out of the clear blue sky. When Elon buys Twitter, here come all the attacks from the DISC. Anybody that starts to get too close to the flame and to power, they're going to be on the receiving end. And you see it with celebrities, you see it in politics. And I think there are a lot of folks who now are giving voice to and a name to that system. And they see somebody like Trump as sort of, because he's definitely been on the receiving end of that stuff, as a way to, for lack of a better word, give the middle finger to that system and be like, you're not as powerful as y'all used to be. And I think there's some truth to that because here's where I'm coming from. Like, it used to be just 3 networks. And so to present yourself as objective, here's the news, you didn't have any competitors to say, no, they're wrong. Cronkite's spinning it in this way or that. There was an old time magazine cover where it's Rush Limbaugh with the cigar and his self. I think it's from 1994. And it says the rise of populist talk or of talk radio and populist electronic populism.
I remember that.
Yeah, and so like the worry about, okay, there's competition in this media space, and I think as much as folks like particular policies Trump might push, or you have traditional Republican values and them pushing those ideas, I think there are also a lot of folks who are tired of the system that's had control, and that's what we mean by the system.
Well, I can understand that. I'm not, like I said, I'm not sure. I want to say, well, how do you in this day and age, how do you deal with that? I think the people, to your point, the people who control the communication mediums are the ones who are running that show. Look, most people are getting there. We all remember when there were 3 or 4 networks. If you want to count PBS, we remember that now. There are more people who are getting their quote news, if you will, from Facebook.
Oh yeah,
Facebook is Facebook is junior high, high school rumor mill on steroids.
Oh, yeah.
Is what that is. I mean, you know, and now the worst thing, and now with AI.
Oh yeah.
And you can create, you know, people saying things and voices and all these. I mean, the amount of disinformation and misinformation that can be injected into the consciousness of people is frightening. Because what world are we going to be living in when truth is going to be almost relative, depending on what you heard.
Right.
And I mean, not even what you did, what you saw, but there's no accountability on social media. You know, one thing you could say that there was some accountability with the major networks because, you know, you get defamation lawsuits. Fox knows all about that. You get defamation lawsuits when you get too far out there. Now, the courts are going to let you go, you know, they're going to let you play politics. You can say some stuff, all right? But they're going to reel you in when you just get too far out there. What happens on social media when something goes viral or some misinformation, no matter who or where it comes from, it's just simply misinformation. Like I said, for me, I'm a lawyer, so facts are important to me. You know, that's why, because then I can know I got the right decision. But the last thing, even our judges, the last thing the judge wants to know in the court is that the judge is working on things that are not factually accurate. Now you want to draw a judge's ire. You want the thunderbolt. Put something in front of a judge that's not true. And to this point, I'll make this and come back to all those things. And as a lawyer, you be very careful. You can say a lot of stuff. You can say something private. Be very careful what you put your name on and what you submit to a court. When they started submitting those pleadings about election fraud and things like that, a bunch of lawyers have been disbarred, suspended over that because the judges are not going to play. It may play well on the radio, play well out in the bar. It does not play well in a courtroom. And those judges have had other lawyers' hats. I mean, they've handed it to them. And so we just have to be careful. And so now with Twitter and everyone listening to that, you know, like even some of the tweets I saw, like Tim Scott had a tweet that says, you know, but the tweet was, you know, President Trump's near assassination, President Biden caused it. You would think that he had the gun sitting on the roof of the one who shot, you know, with that statement. Now, if you want to...
Well, I would put that in the bucket of political propaganda.
Yeah.
But
of course.
I mean, I made a conscious choice about 2 years ago that my main information feed is going to be Twitter. And I made that choice because, number one, you get things in much more real time. Everything gets deconstructed and challenged. And I also find it easier to spot the misinformation than it is with, say, a sleek production coming out of Fox News or CNN. And it's almost like people are going to have to get, and we are just naturally by engaging each other with these systems, are going to get more sophisticated with propaganda. It will never go away. Like we were talking off air, courts and prisons and none of this propaganda will never go away. But think back to like World War I. It was like the Hun is coming to kill your wife and daughter. Go kill the Hun. And people like, the Hun's coming. Like, let's go kill him. And now if you told somebody that today, they'd be like, what are you even talking about?
What's a Hun?
Exactly. So the sophistication, I think, of people with media, there are a lot of folks who aren't sophisticated, but there are more and more folks who are starting to understand this is the game. And maybe on the other side of it we'll be better off. But how about this? On the other side of this break, let's keep talking. Let's keep going.
Absolutely.
First, this part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. And they're at Montgomery Men's Health. They're ready to help you men out. You know, there are a lot of guys walking around who feel tired, lacking energy and drive, including a decrease in sex drive, just never in the mood, seeing unwanted weight gain, loss of muscle mass. Well, it could very well be low testosterone. And that's a common thing for somebody in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. Some guys want to keep their edge as they're getting older. There are even guys in their 20s and 30s walking around with low T, and they don't even know it. So stop by the providers there at Montgomery Men's Health. They can conduct a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. And they have low T treatments there that can truly change lives. Men can experience higher energy, better gains in the gym. Brother. That's right, brother. Better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, a faster metabolism, usually even notice an increased libido. And you can actually book the same day you call. That number, 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com to book your appointment today.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. President Biden dropped out of the 2024 race for the White House on Sunday, ending his bid for re-election following his disastrous debate with Donald Trump that raised doubts about his fitness for office just 4 months before the election. The number of heat-related deaths in Texas is rising among residents who lost power during Hurricane Beryl. The toll of storm fatalities is up to at least 23 now. It took more than a week to restore power for many Houston-era residents. Former U.S. Representative Henry Nowak of New York has died. The Democrat who represented the Buffalo area in Congress for 18 years was 89. The Dow had 111 points, the Nasdaq up 256. This is SRN News.
Philo's got a world of entertainment for you to explore with just one subscription. Sign up today and start watching all the networks you love, like A&E, MTV, Discovery, VH1, TLC, Lifetime, Hallmark Channel, and so much more. Featuring current seasons of all the best drama, true crime, reality, and family-friendly shows you can't afford to miss. And with up to 3 streams at once, you'll never have to fight about what to watch. Get started today and unlock our library of over 75,000 movies and shows, and save all your favorites with the unlimited DVR. So you can rewatch them anytime, anywhere, for up to a year. Philo now includes access to AMC Plus. You can discover your next obsession from its collection of hit originals like Mad Men, The Walking Dead, Killing Eve, Orphan Black, and tons of blockbuster movies. There are no contracts, no commitments, and no hassles. For just $28 a month, Philo's a better way to watch TV. So what are you waiting for? Visit philo.tv and sign up today to start your 7-day free trial. That's philo.tv.
Rich Thomas weather brought to you by Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. Truckers, if you are looking for green grass, contact Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. In business since 1959 and still growing. Call today, 855-777-9785.
Hi, everybody. Our wetter than normal pattern continues, and our break from the extreme heat also continues. High temperature in the upper 80s again today, upper 80s to near 90 tomorrow and Wednesday. Nighttime lows in the low 70s. And again, each day, a better than normal chance of showers and thunderstorms. A generous supply each day, especially in the afternoon and evening hours. Some storms put on a show with some very heavy downpours, lots of lightning, gusty winds, and not much change on Thursday, Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
CB&S Bank has digital banking solutions to help you keep up. Check balances, pay bills, and much more. Learn more at cbsbank.com. Charges and fees may apply from your cellular service provider. Contact your service provider for information. Member FDIC.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, here's today's top stories. Montgomery police have made an arrest in connection to the June shooting death of Darius Gunn. 19-year-old Zephaniah Lowry was identified as the suspect that shot and killed 27-year-old Darius Gunn at the Chevron station on Eastern Boulevard just before midnight, June 18th. Lowry is charged with capital murder and being held under no bond. Prattville Mayor Bill Gillespie Jr. has announced plans to build a new park in town. The Prattville Land Company donated 8 acres of land to be developed into Vista Point Park. The park will have an observation deck and walking trails that lead to downtown. More information about the new park is expected soon. The University of Alabama will honor former head football coach Nick Saban by naming the field inside Bryant-Denny Stadium in his honor. The dedication of Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium will take place on Saturday, September 7th at halftime of the game against South Florida. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
I like what I like. Do what I want.
If you'd like the chance to win a new 2024 Ford Bronco, you'll want to visit Wind Creek Wetumpka. Play and earn entries every day. Then be there Saturday, August 31st, starting at 5 p.m. to see if you drive off in the Bronco or win a share of thousands in cash. Do what you want. Bring home a new Ford Bronco. Visit Wind Creek Wetumpka to find out how and to find your winning moment.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage. For many years, my team and I have worked diligently to provide our veterans with top-notch service, as it is our honor to serve those who have served us in the armed forces. Madeline and I are certified veteran lending specialists. Nationwide, there are over 22 million veterans that qualify to purchase a home through the VA loan program. Yet less than 2 million of them currently have a VA home loan. Many lenders do not keep up with the ever-changing guidelines and benefits of the VA loan program. They are intimidated by the program, resulting in many veterans not obtaining VA loans. This is unacceptable. The VA home loan program offers service members and veterans with 100% financing. You've already paid your down payment. If you are currently serving or have honorably discharged, we would love an opportunity to discuss how the VA program can serve you. Give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223 or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time. Thank you for your service. NMLS 1586368, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, y'all, Lewis at the Capital Oyster Bar. We're over here on the beautiful Alabama River. You know, if you had never been here, we're easy to get to. Get on I-65 and take that North Boulevard exit, and takes the first exit. That's Louisville Street. Hit the bottom of the ramp, turn right 3 times, follow that to the end of the road, and you'll find us down here on the river. Also, we're right down the street from New Monument Park. So if you're down visiting the New Monument Park, you can just come on down here to the Oyster Bar and get good to eat. We also rent out pontoon boats. It's nice on the river down here. You can jump in the river if you get too hot. Find you a shady spot and lay down. But we got a pontoon boat rental. All you need is a driver's license, a credit card, a little common sense will get you going. Got an RV park down here on the river. That's right. You can come down here and stay a little while, stay a little longer. We got room for you. We could cook that good seafood for you. And every Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock, we bring you some great live entertainment. This 3 weeks in a row, we're going to Louisiana. Big Al and the heavyweights are here. That's right. Big Al's back in town. Check it out. Go to CapitalOysterBar.com or our Facebook page. Get out here soon. Come hungry. Showtime's 4 o'clock, y'all.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's Conversational Radio Show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
After damning politicians uphill and down dale for many years as rogues, vagabonds, frauds, and scoundrels, I sometimes suspected, like everyone else, I often expect too much of them.
Joey Clark.
Welcome. Second hour news and views in the afternoon. I'm Joey. Eddie's the one in the blue fishing shirt.
That's right.
And then Joe M. Reed also right across the desk from us here. And we're just absorbing and talking through all this different stuff that's happened in the last few weeks. I keep saying Richard Simmons died on the wrong day because he passes away. It's announced, and then a couple hours later, Trump is shot. And we haven't even touched on that yet. No. I mean, what is your take on, because we've got clips of the Secret Service director. She's not doing herself any favors right now at that hearing in front of Congress. But what's your sense of what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania there?
I think comfortability. I mean, truth, I think the Secret Service got comfortable.
I
think they got comfortable. I think they thought that nobody would try that. And just because I'm trying to figure out how in the world was someone not there? I mean, that's just
on the roof.
On the roof.
Yeah.
How does it, I never known that. I never known that to happen. You know, it's been. I don't think we've seen anything like that since Reagan. Last time someone took a shot at a president or candidate. And look, I'll be the first to say, regardless of politics, regardless of what you think of anybody, you know, Donald Trump has children. He's got a wife. I imagine his children love him very, very much. And, you know, that's not politics. That's not good. That's ridiculous. It should never come to that. It's just, we don't do things like that. You know, if you got an issue, you talk about that issue, but, it's not that serious. It's just not. And so, there's no place, there is no place for anything like that. You have a civil discussion. You take out your frustrations, whether they are at the ballot box. That's what you, but, but you cannot get around the proliferation of weapons here. You can't get around that. I think the Secret Service could have and probably should have done a more thorough job, of things that are possible. Now, sure, someone theoretically, I'm gonna say theoretically, with the 50 cal sniper rifle.
Oh, right.
Beyond the, maybe, I'm not saying maybe because I don't know what the layout was, maybe. So you can't, you can't protect yourself against, every single threat, but I think that's a reasonable one for them to be at. So I've got no idea. And I haven't watched the hearing as why she explained why nobody was there. I mean, who was in charge of the detail? And of course, my thing was, even when the first shot rang out, why was he still standing? Why was he not on the ground?
Right.
And I think that, this is just my thoughts. I think they all were stunned. I think the agents were stunned. And I think they were surprised because my thing was, why are y'all still holding him up? Why is he still upright? Why isn't he on the ground? Why, you got your arms up. I'm like, are the real bullets going to shatter your arm? That didn't make any sense to me, but I think it was just the fog of the moment and the imperfections, what happens when, as they say, when you get hit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is what you get, but it doesn't look good for her.
Oh,
I don't know how long she's going to last.
Well, and she's just not like they're trying to say, wait, we got one statement that y'all never denied any requests for additional Secret Service to Trump. Then 5 days later, your spokesperson came out and said, no, we did multiple times we denied requests. So what requests how many requests have been denied and what occasions? And she just had no answer and was talking around it.
Yeah, not when I say, and she probably doesn't know.
Right.
And she probably doesn't. I mean, when you're the head of the Secret Service,
She probably doesn't.
She doesn't even know.
Should she resign?
I'm not a big fan of stuff like that, but when I say this, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this now: if Trump would have got assassinated, should she resign?
Should she resign?
Because most people, I've asked that question too.
I would probably say, when I say, I probably would.
Me too. Me as well.
Yeah, I probably
being
would
an
say,
honor type thing.
Right. I think it's a, I mean, because you're the first. You would have lost. I mean, you would have lost a president.
Yeah.
Right.
And we haven't lost a president since Kennedy.
And you made the point. Tim Scott tweeting things out. Senator Scott was not alone in that. And after a couple days of that, like the heated rhetoric caused this, I started thinking, and I'm like, no, I got a feeling this kid, if it is that kid, it seems like it was that 20-year-old, was nihilistic. I think he's off the political map, so to speak, is my sense of it. That, yeah, the rhetoric's been heated in this country for sure. But it just from the little bit that's come out when he's searching for major depressive disorders, when he's posting things vaguely, like my debut will be on this, to video game sites, it just strikes me as there is a world beyond our political back and forth. And I think some folks are they play out their dark fantasies in the real world sometimes.
I agree. I think we're in the age of clicks, and some people don't, are obscure for, I was an obscure teenager. Just was. You get out of high school, you got folks who get more attention. You guys all remember who was prom king, prom queen, who the most popular kids were and stuff like that. And some folks have a tough time coping and dealing with not getting attention. But in the world of getting likes and people looking, some folks are saying, I don't think my life is going to be famous or anything like that, so I'm gonna go out in this blaze of glory, so to speak, so people will remember my name. And as twisted as that is, but a lot of folks believe that, and they will. Hinckley shot President Reagan because he was trying to get Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster.
Yeah. Right. Sitting here, we were young folks then, but sitting around now, you're like, what in the world? But I think it's the same thing. I think there's more pressure on children now through social media and how social media defines who you are, that people are desperate for attention. And they will, and you combine that with some, personality disorders, some issues, some mental illness, and you get reckless. That you talk about that's a hair away. If he doesn't turn his head,
it's crazy.
If that wind is blowing a certain way, if he's an inch in another direction, it's a whole nother ball game. That's how close, when I say that was. And so it's when I say it's a very, very unfortunate circumstance and situation. I mean, it's terrible.
Well, and it was one of him getting up and starting with the blood on his face and pumping his fist. And I was kind of watching this in real time. When he's shot, I'm like, is he all right? It seemed clear to me there were gunshots, but I'm wondering, is he dead? Where was he shot? And for him to get up and do that, and then the photos going everywhere, that's like one of the realest things I've seen in politics. And you don't want to see it, but I mean, there's nothing realer than that.
Adrenaline is something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Say that.
Adrenaline.
Oh yeah.
Adrenaline is something. You probably look back and said, "I shouldn't have done that."
Oh, right.
If you can bottle it up and sell it.
Yeah, we had a former Secret Service agent, Ken Valentine, on the day or two after that happened, and I said, what a badass thing to be like 555, but as a Secret Service agent, you probably want to get them off that stage, right? Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
And there are just so many failures. Apparently, came over the weekend. The shooter had cased out the joint with a drone beforehand, just so many failures, and hopefully there are answers for everybody who needs protection's sake.
Now, do you think they were all failures at all? Do you think at all, at least bit inside job?
That is an inside job? No, I don't think that. No, I don't think that. And I'll be wrong on this. If it ever bore itself out, then I've got more faith in our people that that those guys put their lives on the line. They accept that when they go into that. They know what they're here for, and I think they're trying to protect the president, doing the best job they can. But real-time decisions are rarely, perfect. They just aren't. And so, no, I don't think it was an inside job. I think they got caught napping because, again, this is not something. When was the last time they're at a Trump rally? Who's going to do this here? I think that's what they're thinking. I think that's the undercurrent of it, as opposed to let me thoroughly, go down the checklist of what we're supposed to be doing. I think when you do it 100 times and nothing happens, on the 101st time, you're like, I'm not checking that building.
That definitely was a failure on their part.
Yeah.
And,
Head's
got to roll.
And we'll see how it also bears out on the presidential race. 272-9228. Let's go to line one real quick. Hey, you're on there. Who's this?
Red Top. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hey, Red Top.
I don't skip steps when I'm trying to do a good job. I don't give a damn if I've done it 1,000 times. You don't bull crap around with stuff like this, and I'm just a contractor. That's why I'm in high demand, because I never skip anything. And so you either have a tradition of doing that or you don't. That is pure complacency, but from what I've been studying, and I've been studying this a whole lot, I watched it happen. This was let happen, period, exclamation point. And I watched some of her testimony this morning. This is a cold-hearted woman. She has no feelings for anything. Now she's leaving everything up to Christopher Wray. And that has got to be the only person more crooked than Chris Wray is Jim Comey, right? So are you really going to trust what Christopher Wray says happened?
Well, the trust problem is a very real one. And honestly, like I said, the statements that have come out, this hearing today seems to be a bit of a disaster. And you would hope a week out that you would have better answers and a better story to tell. Right. It is, I try not to go full tinfoil hat, but it reminds me of sort of the Las Vegas shooting and how that timeline was frequently changed about what happened there. And maybe we won't know. I've kind of gotten used to it. Who blew up the Nord Stream pipeline? Where exactly did COVID come from? These are big questions we need answered. Yeah, we don't get there.
Well, yes, this woman, if she had any integrity, would have quit by now. Or if Donald Trump was there, she'd have been fired that damn day. He fired a lot of people, guys, didn't he? And he did the right thing by firing people. Now, Joey, one thing I'd like to bring up is Mike Pompeo. When I saw him at the convention, he looked so much different. He looked scared, and, he's already had more than one swatting incident on him. Nor did he look healthy. But I sensed a level of fear in him I've never seen before. And he seemed a little bit, I could just feel he was paranoid.
It might be that, or it could be he's just skinny now.
Yeah, that's true. But I think he's been an honor, and he's also scared because he's been on #1 hit list for Iran and many.
Yeah.
I think he's had enough. And I was kind of surprised to see him there. And his speech was unusual, don't you think?
Yeah, it was more just straightforward. Here's our foreign policy accomplishments. Pompeo, I don't feel warmth for him, but I do respect. He's a smart guy, and anybody who's been CIA director and Secretary of State probably knows where all the bodies are buried.
I think his performance as Secretary of State may have been the best of all that Donald Trump had by far.
Certainly better than Tillerson. Well, I appreciate the call, Red Top.
Roll Tide, go Trump. Thank you, guys.
Well, and I just wonder in this context, so if seems like it's going to be Kamala Harris as the nominee for the Democratic Party, who do you think the VP is, and how does this play out? Like, what do you think are, there might be like what we wish to happen, but how do you think this actually plays out? Can Trump at this point be beat by any ticket?
Yes. I think I answered your first question. I think there are three people who are on the top list, but really going down to, coming down to really two. And out of those two, I think the number one is probably Senator Mark Kelly, out of Arizona. I don't think Kelly brings a lot of what I call common sense, very straightforward, fighter pilot, astronaut, solid guy. I think he touches I think he connects with a lot of people. I think it could be Shapiro, but probably not, out of Pennsylvania. It could be, I think, Governor Cooper out of North Carolina. Those are probably your top three people to consider. I don't think that list is going to get. Dark horse is going to be, I can't think of his name, governor out of Kentucky.
Andy Beshear.
Andy Beshear. Yeah. I couldn't say it. So I think those are your top four with him being, but I think Kelly is very, very serious and formidable. But yeah, I think, you're going to come down to probably between 5 and 7 states. And I think one of the big issues that people are going to vote on, but you got to look at who your folks are, who's going to do it. And so the suburbs and dealing with a lot of women, that abortion issue is going to be very, very strong. It just will be.
Right.
And I think that, it's going to be tight. No question about that. I think it's going to be tight because that's just where we are. But, can it happen? Sure. I think you've got, look, Trump's, I think numbers are where they are. I don't think they get bigger. I think that base is solid. That base, it's going to do what it's going to do. I think the thing is going to be where independents are going to break. And will they, come out? The big thing is no one wanted Trump. No one wanted Biden because they've seen that show before. So nobody wanted that. Well, you don't have that anymore. Here's what you got. So, what do you do? So I think how independents react, who stays home, who doesn't stay home, is going to be the key. You've probably got about 35, I would say you got about 35, 38% of what I call folks who are either Republican or Democrat in this country, kind of hardcore. Then you got that middle. And both sides need independents to win. You can't win without them.
Right.
You definitely can't win now.
All
okay.
Right.
So how do these folks break? And how do they break in these other states? And that's going to be key. That's what I'm kind of going with, because Arizona I still think is in play. Now, does Arizona come out for their hometown senator? Who knows? Okay. Arizona is right next to Nevada. So that's another battleground state. So those folks kind of see things kind of the same way. Then move over to the Rust Belt. Well, you've got J.D. Vance, who's Ohio. Anybody who's living in Ohio knows there ain't a difference really between folks in, I went to school at Pittsburgh, and that's Western PA. And I can say there ain't a difference between folks in Western PA, in Eastern Ohio.
Right.
You can't tell, no more than Alabama and Georgia. Shoot. So you got those dynamics at play. So, I think it and nobody knows. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be how people, who turns folks out, who gets out to do this.
Well, and I was going to ask you about J.D. Vance because I actually watched, I think Eddie did too, Hillbilly Elegy last night, the Ron Howard film that he made for Netflix. And I wrote also an op-ed will come out tomorrow for 1819 News, 1819news.com, folks. And because I started reading all these op-eds, it's interesting how JD gets named and now we've got to bring him down a peg. But and they described it as, even my uncle, who's big into Democratic politics, he And a lot of these op-ed writers are saying, well, it's a sort of callous, pick yourself up by your bootstrap story. Like, oh, look, the takeaway is, oh, look how smart I am. These people are just too dumb. They couldn't get out like me. And I watched that movie last night, and I'm like,
not my takeaway.
I didn't get that. And like, so what's your sense of JD Vance? Have you had much time to kind of look into him?
So I haven't. We'll say it for the next time when I come back. I haven't had time to really, study him. There was an article out one of his buddies said about him. He was what I call a never Trumper for the longest time, and had some, I say, not so flattering things to say.
Oh yeah.
About President Trump.
I think you called him cultural heroin.
Yeah.
And given what we went through with his mother, that's a pretty strong thing to say.
That's some strong vitriol now. But when you're chosen to be vice president, again, things, politics, things change very, very quickly. But I mean, smart guy. You don't go to law school. You went to law school and you're stupid. So that doesn't happen. But I think he is a younger version of what the Republican Party is under Trump, with less of an edge.
Oh, okay? Sure.
Less of an edge. And he's got time, and so, and probably I would say not as impulsive. Okay. I think he's more deliberate, but I don't know a ton about him. I haven't studied him, to know that. No, look, when they're all running mates, their job is to be, the attack dog.
Right.
And so he's going to do his job.
Yep.
And I expect that. But your friends who grew up with you know where your heart is, know who you really are. I'm not telling you say you can't change, but I think the article that his roommate said that they haven't talked, I think, since then. But not a bad choice. If I'm picking, I mean, you need Ohio, you need that region. So
you need some of that youth too.
Yeah, and again, that's I think the transition. So that's a good thing for President Trump, and I think it will certainly help people who are leaning his way and who are concerned about his age. To say, okay, well, this guy's right there, so you can rationalize that if this doesn't really, he'll help President Trump, or President Trump will impart whatever he wants to impart to JD Vance, and that's where we'll go. So I think it'll be something like that.
Now, we began the show with Caroline Dobson being endorsed by a young guy, Rylan Hollihan, a very young, but he's got a great following online. And I just noticed, I saw the news today that Shamari Figures and his campaign finally came out and has said something about November. They, I think, very wisely stayed quiet as all this was going on. Do you think not just Shamari Figures, but so many down ballot Democrats are now kind of breathing a sigh of relief? And I guess my question is, if Kamala's the nominee, does that help Figures in this particular congressional district coming up?
I think it can. I can't say it's definitive or not. I won't go that far. I think when we talked last time about this race, this is so close. I think whatever this is going to be between 3,000 and 5,000 votes. Wow. When this is all said and done.
Yeah.
And so I think it is whoever can get folks to the polls because we've got a ton of registered voters on both sides of the political fence who simply don't participate.
Right.
They just
True.
don't.
So true.
And so, how do you know someone's going to stay at home or not? Who is just tired of this? Who's, throwing their hands up there? Who feels so disaffected that elected officials are there to do something for themselves, get a congressional retirement, get a book deal, invest in the stock market, and here I am, and, I don't have any internet, and my kids have got to go, do homework, and they're dealing with issues like that, or I've got my medicines, as we start to age, we start taking more and more medicine. You got to deal with that. You aren't thinking about either one of them. That's just the reality of it. And I think a lot of people, guys, don't think that elected officials impact their bottom line and their the things that affect them every day. They don't see it. And so why in the heck am I going to, depending on what the weather's going to be like, that first Tuesday, why should I go out here and give my time and do this and nothing's going to change? I mean, probably in the last 2 years, we've seen the most dysfunctional Congress I think we've seen. I won't say ever because I haven't been around ever, but in a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, you just, from switching out speakers to not even getting any legislation through, and it's just, and I think folks are sick of it.
Well, and then I've called him for years now, that shiny bastard, Matt Gaetz. Did you see it on the convention floor? He started dogging out Kevin McCarthy.
What'd you think about that? I was like, that is so high schoolish.
I think they really just don't like each other, and I think it goes a lot deeper than what stuff we know publicly. I think there's something Kevin did that I think really pissed off Gaetz, and then of course Gaetz then vacating the chair and causing all these issues. No, I don't think there's any mutual love between them.
No, that was. You know what it reminded me of? Remember that last scene in The Untouchables where Kevin Costner goes after Robert De Niro and says, "Don't stop fighting till the fighting's won." You know, and it reminded me of that particular scene. But I just thought that was a lot. You know, that was a lot. I mean, I thought he was going to throw a punch.
That's what I kept waiting for. Really, I kept waiting for somebody to throw a punch.
Right.
I really did.
I was kind of like, man, this is where we are. You know, this is. How do we function?
Do you not, or do you enjoy, or do you not enjoy seeing the politicians act that way in front of the camera?
But look, it's entertainment and it's funny. You know, I mean, it's like I sit and laugh because I like to laugh.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but no, I'm not for show. You know, we got to get serious about stuff, and it's times you got to get down to business. But again, we've got everyone who on both sides of the political fence now. If you aren't, when was the last time there's a guy? I know I'm jumping around a little bit. I can't think of his name. He's a Republican, I think, out of Kansas. 36 years old, just retired from Congress. 36. He's 36. And he said that he just did some legislation for the farmers in Kansas. It was really good. Couldn't get any press about it because somebody else was getting more lists because of some theatrics they were doing.
Right.
You know, from the personalities on both the left and the right. And so the national folks don't want to interview you unless you're getting likes and looks and tweets and all that. So here's a guy who's probably doing what he's supposed to do as a representative of his constituents.
Doing his one job
and
he's supposed to do.
Nobody cares. And so he's like, I'm done.
Well, we got to hit another break here. But first, this part of the program brought to you by All Pro Heating, Air, and Electrical. And they're at All Pro, of course, it's right there in the name. They can help you with that HVAC system. If you haven't had a checkup done and we're now in the middle of summer, you're playing with fire.
Yes, you are.
Please do not tempt fate. I've had that happen to me. 2 weeks without AC in the middle of an Alabama summer.
Joey?
No, it was not. I had to meet you up at the Walmart in Millbrook.
Yeah,
to get a
portable
window
AC
unit. Yeah, my goodness. I've been through it. You don't want to go through it. Have All Pro come out and just do a little checkup, maintenance, or of course, if it's time to get a brand new system, they can help you out in that regard. And on the electrical side, of course, they can check out your electrical system, make sure everything is top notch, but they also have these Generac generators.
That's the way to go.
So with storms rolling through, bound to roll through in this area, and you need to keep the power on, get yourself a Generac generator, especially if things like medical devices that you need to make sure always have power. All Pro has your back in that regard. So check them out today. You can always go to allproheatingair.com or give them a call at 301-1961. That's 301-1961. And be sure to tell them that Joey and Eddie, those fellas on the radio, sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
This isn't just another sale. It's the Toyota Big One Sales Event at Toyota of Montgomery, with big deals on our big Toyota inventory. This month only, get big savings on the fuel-efficient new 2024 Toyota Corolla LE, just $199 a month. The oh-so-stylish and reliable new 2025 Camry LE, only $298 a month. Need more space? Need more versatility? Drive the new 2024 RAV4 LE for only $298 a month. No matter what Toyota you decide on, now's the time to save big. Even the 2025 models are here with big savings. That's why at Toyota of Montgomery, everybody wins. These big offers are here for just a small amount of time. Visit us today at Toyota of Montgomery. Online at toyotamontgomery.com. Part of the Sutherland Automotive Group.
Corolla LE TSRP 24,183. Camry LE TSRP 30,842. RAV4 liters ETSRP 31,173. 12K miles per year for 36-month lease with 3,980, 3,850, and 4,452 in signing. Zero security deposit with approved credit plus tax, tag, title, and $995 back fee. Offer ends 7/31/2024.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
The Health and Wealth Show. The Health and Wealth Show. The show so nice, we said it twice. Weekday evenings at 6 on News Talk 93.1 WACV. The Health.
Break it up, son. Joke's over, hey?
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Alabama Wholesale Lumber. Alabama Wholesale Lumber, serving the river region with the best quality building materials for decades. Contractor to do-it-yourselfer. Call Alabama Wholesale Lumber.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Hi, everybody. Our wetter than normal pattern continues, and our break from the extreme heat also continues. High temperature in the upper 80s again today, upper 80s to near 90 tomorrow and Wednesday. Nighttime lows in the low 70s. And again, each day, a better than normal chance of showers and thunderstorms. A generous supply each day, especially in the afternoon and evening hours. Some storms put on a show with some very heavy downpours, lots of lightning, gusty winds, and not much change on Thursday, Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
John Bobo with Capital Tractor. Have you heard the news? Capital Tractor will soon be moving to a brand new location in Montgomery. With lots of Kubota inventory, we're going to sell it instead of move it. Our big moving sale is a great time to get a great deal on a Kubota at Capital Tractor in Montgomery.
When news happens, you'll hear about it first. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Eddie Bader's still in the house. How you doing, Eddie?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good. And we have Joe M. Reed here in the studio, just hanging out here with us, talking about everything going on in the news. We need to do this on a regular basis, I think, Joe.
This is fun.
Yeah, I think we get along just fine.
We do.
Let's go to, sometimes we get along with this guy. Sometimes not, but we love him all the same. Duke, how you doing?
What's happening, Duke?
What you trying to say, Joey?
Oh, you know. Don't even start.
Already started.
Nah. Anyway, how you doing?
Good.
How you doing, fellas?
Good. How are you?
All righty. Now I wasn't gonna say anything about the tent revival I saw last week. Tent slashes the damn wrestling match or whatever the hell was going on last week with the Republicans. But Saturday, I was just going through my TV, minding my own business and everything. I saw this individual named Donnie from Queens talking. Out of this man's mouth, he said he took a bullet for y'all last week. I down there shot my TV out behind that lie. Why would he lie like that?
How you figure he's lying, Duke?
He said he took a bullet.
Well, and for folks who don't know what you're talking about, Duke, here's the actual clip. Let's listen.
They keep saying he's a threat to democracy. I'm saying, what the hell did I do for democracy? Last week I took a bullet for democracy. What did I do against democracy?
So there you go. What?
Now,
you don't think he was hit by a bullet?
I still can't see where that damn bullet hit his ear. But he says he sounded like he got hit all up in the chest and he just jumped up off the ground like Superman.
I didn't hear him say all that.
That's what it nigga sound like that.
It's a good thing I'm in a good mood today,
When
dude.
you say you took, this man said he took a bullet. He took no damn bullet. Shoot. But anyhow, y'all got your panties in a wall behind this caller, Miss Harris thing, don't you?
Not really. I think it's great.
Somebody,
I couldn't be happier.
Let me say it differently. The people on Fox News, I couldn't resist.
Oh,
turn it over there yesterday.
Those folks.
Oh yeah.
Some damn folks that fell apart, boy. I said, man, they hate this woman that bad? That scared of her? Then they talk about the fact that she didn't take care of the border. But Donna McQueen stopped all that. They had a bill passed, didn't they? And Donna McQueen said he didn't like it, so they sat their ass down somewhere. Huh?
No, not really.
Yes,
Not
he did.
the way you're describing it. No, not really.
This entire call's just coming across as like I'm getting poked with a stick through the phone here. Like, what is this?
Oh, yeah,
Am I being trolled?
I told you, Donna did that, but he did this to me the weekend, so I'm going to let y'all slide. I'm going to let them have a little, sugar high, get the little sugar high going and everything from last week. I'm going to let them have that a little bit right there. But after that boy said that, he took a bullet.
Did he not take a bullet? Are you mad because it passed through him and they didn't have
This
to?
man, dude, now when people say I took a bullet, that means you been shot up pretty good.
Well, and it's not the only.
You got shot.
Hit in the leg. You been hit in the leg or something. You drag your leg across the stage.
So like less than an inch from his brain is that's just
not a big deal.
He did not take no bullet. The bullet didn't even stop at him. It didn't stop at him. It kept on going.
Well, and Duke, that's not all he said at his rally. He reenacted what happened that day.
Yeah.
Look at the great results that we had on immigration. Just look at them. If I didn't say that, and it's because we had like a crane holding this massive sign. I call it the $1 million sign. They're expensive. But that sign was very good. I think I'm going to sleep with it tonight. Let me sleep with it tonight.
And then he went on to even make fun of himself. He's like, look at that comb over. Like, that's awful. Like, he seems, I guess the Phoenix effect, I don't know. He seems a little different.
Oh, this stuff, though, boy. I tell you, it's been amazing, though. But that's a nice little shirt y'all put on last week. And Trump got off on the track last week. He couldn't help himself. He couldn't help it. But overall, it's pretty good, though. But a lot of lies was being told and everything. And wishes, promises and wishes for everybody.
So Hulk Hogan didn't sway you?
Huh? Now that what got me though. He got that guy, then he got an old boy out there trying to dance and going, what's his name? Chris Rock. Chris
Rock. He was rocking it pretty good.
Yeah. He rocked pretty good. Then what got me though? They showed this big Trump name up there. I thought, oh Lord, why did they want to do this for him? Because this guy, he already full of himself already. They go, he walk out there, pimping out there. Look at him.
How do you not become full of yourself after you just survived an assassination attempt?
Especially after he took a bullet for folks.
Right. How do you not feel a little bit full of yourself?
I know.
How do you not say you're the chosen one?
Well, appreciate the call, Duke.
See you, Duke.
No, and like Churchill, I think there's the biography Andrew Roberts did. It's called Man of Destiny because Churchill missed dying. I think it was double digits that he started to believe he had some purpose or destiny. How close, and many times almost being shot to death. So yeah, I did wonder that after Trump gets shot at and survives, that's the same guy who, when talking about North Korea, is like, I am the chosen one. And like, oh no, this is playing into something here. Let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this?
Hola. Hey, Eric, what's up, man?
How y'all doing?
We hanging in here.
Alrighty. I think Duke would be mad if Jesus cured cancer because all the cancer doctors be out of jobs. He'd be mad. No matter what you do, that dude's gonna be mad. Love you, Duke. You can call me later. We'll talk about it. I'm over this. You know what? He got shot. The fact that he didn't hold on to the bullet, okay, whatever. Well, next time. We'll have it put into a necklace so you can say, I got the bullet right, chump. I mean, come on, seriously. I love Duke. Me and him have some good conversations. The whole Kamala thing, I want to see this explained. If you don't go with Kamala, how you gonna get around her being a black female and y'all and she's being overlooked because of what reason? I want to hear. Not that anybody in that room knows, but I'm going to be interested to hear what is disqualifying about her candidacy. That she can't beat Trump.
Oh, I don't think that's what that is. I mean, she's the vice president. Like I said, I think it's.
She's been a nice president, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't want to call it a foregone conclusion, but I mean, it would cause it would cause a lot of, I think, more than an eyebrow raising. It would raise, once the majority of voters are female. Okay. And it's going to be period on both. I mean, majority of voters, period, are female. It would be very difficult to say you're second in line, for the presidency, and then you're not good enough to be the nominee. That's just a awkward. Nobody wants to answer that.
No
I don't care
doubt.
what, nobody wants to answer that. So I don't think that was ever going to be really a real serious question. That wouldn't happen. So I think is she capable? I mean, attorney general, senator, prosecutor. I mean, she's as capable as anybody else. Doing it. And this is the 1-2. Let's see. We had Geraldine Ferraro in 84. We had Sarah Palin as VP. Hillary Clinton ran for president. She was on the VP. And now we got Kamala Harris. So, folks are knocking on the door. Kind of reminds me of those Georgia Bulldogs in the SEC championship.
Oh, dog.
They right. And they knock on the door, and at some point in time that glass cracks and they get in. So I think
I don't care if
women.
it's a woman.
I think women. I think women would have a problem, and I think a lot of men would have a problem too.
Well, I appreciate the call, Eric.
Well, everybody knows men make the best women.
Goodness gracious.
I don't think I really didn't see a workaround. I just don't see how, as a nation, that much less a party, but how they could do that.
And I've been saying for a while now, and it's really struck me that I think the biggest divide in American politics is men and women. Like when you look at single women and single men in particular, that's a huge divide in terms of partisan divides. And then also, maybe something will change as we get closer to election day and people get to work with the campaigning. But you are seeing more and more younger Hispanic and Black men starting to pull away from the Democratic Party for whatever reason. And yet women are staying home with the Democratic Party. So I don't even know where to begin with that, like why that is happening. But there is a very stark divide, just even beyond politics, between men and women these days. It seems like, especially in folks who aren't actually married. Marriage tends to level you out if it works.
Joey, I think a couple of things. I think sexism is very, very real. And there are a lot of men who just don't. I was on Kevin Elkin's show once, and Kevin makes no bones about it. He said he didn't want to take orders from a woman. Period. That's just where
There's a lot of people that have
and
those
a lot
thoughts,
of people, a lot of people feel that way.
Yep.
I know we got a woman governor here. Lots of states have have them. But there are a lot of men who don't want to do that. And so they may not answer a poll, answer a question on the phone or anything like that. But they come out and they let you know by how they vote. So, that's a very, very real thing. And that's something, and you've got to watch, that. Now, that being said, I think you also have a singular issue now where women, and I think abortion is a real key thing. So I think a lot of women see, because that issue, I think, has really hurt Republicans in statewide, like in Kansas, which is a red state. And that didn't go over well there. And I think in a lot of places. So it depends if you're going to be a single issue voter. Now, if the border is your thing and you live in Texas and you're tired of some stuff, that might be your issue there, okay? But if you're not someplace where that directly impacts you, then it may be something else. So I think it depends kind of on where you are.
Right.
But I think that whole concept, we as men sit here, but we know darn well we wouldn't let a bunch of women tell us what's going to happen to our reproductive systems. We aren't, and that's the reality. We aren't going to do that.
Reality, yeah.
We wouldn't do it. And I think women are coming around to standing on that, saying, and we aren't going to let y'all tell us what to do either.
Do you think it should be, and I'm in this camp, it should be left up to the states. Do you think that's wise, or should it keep pushing for a national standard one way or the other?
I think it needs to be a national standard. I think, we're independent states on that. I get why the Supreme Court did what it did. What I didn't particularly care too much for is you got 50 years of precedent here. That's what we call established law. And unless there's something that really changes it, then something that, then you move on that. But I think because of the chaos, now you're seeing states who want to criminalize someone going to another state where it's legal. So I say, let's say marijuana, for instance. You can smoke marijuana in Colorado, Nevada all day long. You can get a contact high out there. I just left Las Vegas, trying to figure out how I found the plane. But but anyway, should the AG or the DA, should Darrell Bailey try to indict someone here in Alabama for possession of marijuana out in Las Vegas.
No.
Right. I mean, so, but you have those, but we're getting into these things where you've got states being over aggressive for political reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to see someone react a certain way in a neighboring state, do something, totally different. And that ultimately breeds conflict. And so I think a national standard for something like that was needed. And I thought that we had it. But again, we think all these rights and these things are absolute, and none of the stuff is absolute. But we had some reason. I think even Chief Justice Roberts probably would have settled in at about 16 weeks, probably what he would have settled in on.
Okay.
Again, compromise.
Well, and that's where it is in most of, I think, Europe, for instance.
Yeah, but when you deal, and we're in Alabama, so but I don't know how you tell a 12-year-old that they've got to go through that, or a 16-year-old they got to go through that, and it's their cousin or their dad or somebody does, somebody who's disgusting and who rapes them, that they've got to do that. That's a big pill, and they aren't in control of that. I mean, whether you agree with it, whether you don't, personally, like I say, I'm pro-choice, I'm pro-death penalty. That's just where I am on. I don't have a problem with either one of them. But I just think it's a woman's issue. And I think it's a slippery slope to get involved in healthcare issues where a woman's, and doctors trying to figure out, do I try to save this patient's life or do I risk a criminal indictment? And then someone, dies. And so we're getting into uncharted territory with this thing for political and religious reasons, And of course, this is a country that has lots of religions here and lots of beliefs. Some people believe, some people don't.
Right.
I go to church every Sunday, but I'm not mad at the person who doesn't go.
Well, and I think you're right. It will be the issue, I think, especially coming from the Democrats heading into November.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be at the presidential level all the way to congressional races. And even, I think you're right, the statewide races, even in red states, have, I think, surprised some of the pro-life movement. But we got another break. Do you have time to stick around for the final hour?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So before I hit this break, this part of the program brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And there at Alabama Home Mortgage, Kim and Madeline are ready to help you with buying a home, or if you're looking to refinance your current home. There could be a lot of reasons you might refinance. It could be you're stuck under a mountain of credit card debt. And, yes, mortgage rates are higher. 7, 8, 9%, though, is much less than 24, 29% APR on that credit card. So if you need to consolidate that debt, a refinance deal through Alabama Home Mortgage is a great way to go. Of course, it doesn't have to be a big problem like that. It could be just want to rearrange your finances, reinvest in yourself, your property, maybe your family. They can help you there. And if you're a veteran, they are VA Home Loan certified at Alabama Home Mortgage. They know the latest with the VA Home Loan programs. If you are a veteran and you've not taken advantage of these benefits you've earned through your service, you are leaving money on the table. So call Alabama Home Mortgage today at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Like Kim and Madeline proved that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group with an update on the real estate market in the River region. Sales of homes for the last 5 months will top 1,900 homes. Even though sales are slightly lower, the average sales price is still climbing. First-home home buyers comprise over 34% of all sales, with no slowdown in sight for them. We now have more homes on the market in all price ranges, which gives buyers more choices than they've had in over 2 years. Some helpful suggestions for today's home buyer would be: 1. Work with a local lender for your loan approval. 2. List 3 must-haves for your new home and seek to find properties to match your needs. 3. Work with an experienced and knowledgeable real estate agent to help you with your search, your showings, and receive advice on offers and negotiations. 4. Always use a licensed recommended home inspector when you find the home you choose. For all the details, call Bo Goodson at the Goodson Group at 221-2883 or 551-0225.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. If you're looking for waterproof carpet, hardwood, laminate, vinyl plank, or ceramic tile, call us today for your free measure.
Prattville Carpet is a family-owned flooring store that prides itself on personal service, quality products, and guaranteed installation. From beautiful hardwood floors to luxurious smart strand carpet, Prattville Carpet has you covered. Call, come by, or online at prattvillecarpet.com.
Prattville Carpet, we're more than just carpet.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
The premier place the River Region turns to for news, weather, traffic, and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Michael Cohen from Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, Michael, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are y'all?
Oh, we're doing all right. Show's going along well. Life's going along well.
Mm-hmm.
So how's it going?
You're not sad?
Sad?
You're not sad?
Sad?
I mean, your uncle was pulled out of the race?
My uncle? Joe Biden's not my uncle.
Uncle Joe?
Oh, goodness. It took a long way to get to... Anyway, how's it going at Cohen's there today?
Great.
No, let's keep telling folks about the Summer of Smart that you got going on there. And I love this idea because folks can go buy one or two devices and then you can even build off of it and make the entire home smart.
Well, that's right. We've got a customer that we went out to last week, and that particular customer needed a couple of keypads because he wanted to redo some of the smart things that we'd already installed. So some of what we had installed included some lights throughout his home, and he had ordered some other lights that were not Control 4. But anyway, we got him some keypads so that he could adjust his different scenes and control them. So anyway, it gives you a lot of room to grow as you get into the smart home. And I think there's so many people that don't think that they're into a smart home, but once you get a Ring doorbell, that's a smart function.
Right.
Being able to see who's at your front door from a million miles away.
And could you do things like even control the air conditioning remotely?
Yes.
Ooh.
So for a lot of people, being able to control the air conditioner is kind of cool because on your way home, you can dial it down from 78 down to 70 so that it'll be cool when you get home.
There you go, without running that thing all day.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. I mean, not all of us have a job like Eddie where we know exactly when we're getting off and everything.
Right. To the minute.
Well, folks, y'all can always shop from home at thinkcohens.com, but I really encourage you to stop by the Boulevard, 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery. They're open 9 to 6, Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And be sure to find Michael or one of the team members and say, hey, I heard Michael on with those fellows on the radio.
Fantastic. Y'all come see us. Thank you, Joey.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Michael.
Eddie.
Thank you, Michael.
And, we're out of time for this segment. Final hour coming up. We got some calls rolling in and more conversation to be had. Y'all stay tuned.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusada, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. The Secret Service's director acknowledges the agency was told about a suspicious person between 2 and 5 times before the assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump. Lawmakers have peppered Kimberly Cheadle with questions about why she should be allowed to keep her job and why Donald Trump was allowed to take the stage after local law enforcement had identified the gunman as being suspicious. After President Biden stepped aside on Sunday, the Democratic National Committee has yet to approve what will happen next, meaning questions about the top of the party's ticket will persist, at least in the short term. Stocks are higher, the Dow ahead 85 points, the NASDAQ adding 298. This is SRN News.
Government debt is now exploding by an unprecedented $1 trillion every 90 days. Think of that. It's a clear sign that our nation's finances are spinning out of control, and it's putting the savings of every one of you at risk. Hello, I'm Lance Wallnow, a news analyst and best-selling author and an evangelical leader. I'm deeply concerned about the impact this runaway debt is going to have on Christians like you who have worked hard to build your own nest egg for your family. To protect your financial future in these uncertain times, you need to diversify with something tangible and proven, like physical gold. That's why I recommend a gold IRA. To learn more, text FAITH to the number 989898, and my friends at Birch Gold Group will rush you a free info kit on how to move your IRA or 401k to physical precious metals, tax and penalty-free. So don't wait. Just text the word FAITH to 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold Group is the only company I trust. There's no obligation. So text FAITH to 989898, and I pray this information helps you achieve prosperity and peace of mind.
Rich Thomas Weather, brought to you by Clark Heating, Air, and Plumbing. It's time to get your cooling system ready for the long, hot summer. Call today about the advantages of the Clark Club membership to be sure you're covered. Call 277-2125. Better call Clark. Alabama certification number 09098.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Hi, everybody. Our wetter than normal pattern continues, and our break from the extreme heat also continues. High temperature in the upper 80s again today, upper 80s to near 90 tomorrow and Wednesday. Nighttime lows in the low 70s. And again, each day, a better than normal chance of showers and thunderstorms. A generous supply each day, especially in the afternoon and evening hours. Some storms put on a show with some very heavy downpours, lots of lightning, gusty winds, and not much change on Thursday, Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Do you have big plans this summer? Dive into summer with an ASE Credit Union vacation loan. Whether you've got a trip coming up, projects at home, or just need a little extra cash, we've got you covered. So don't put your plans on hold. Visit yourasecu.com or stop by and see us today.
1819 News.
Alabama State Treasurer Young Boozer warned that the Biden-Harris student loan bailout creates a serious moral hazard. Speaking at a Huntsville meeting, Boozer explaining that forgiving student loans incentivizes people to disregard their contractual obligations as they don't bear the full consequences. He also criticized the administration for bypassing Congress and the courts to implement this relief. More Alabama news to come after this.
I'm Amy Beth Shaver with Alabama Unfiltered Radio, and when I need the news and I need it fast, I turn to Andrea Tice and the Daily Detail. On my way in, it is the most convenient, best way for me to digest what's going on so that I can use it for our show. She tells you what's going on in Alabama that day first and fast. So listen to the Daily Detail with Andrea Tice. Don't miss out.
The Daily Detail is available wherever podcasts are found.
Bryant-Denny Stadium will soon be named Saban Field in honor of former Alabama football coach Nick Saban, following a unanimous vote by university trustees. Saban, who retired earlier this year after leading Alabama to 6 national championships, expressed deep gratitude for the honor. The field naming ceremony will take place before the South Florida game on September 7th. State Superintendent Dr. Eric Mackey is planning to recommend state intervention in Bessemer City schools due to the ongoing issues with the district's governance and facilities. The State Board of Education set to vote on this recommendation in August. Mackey citing concerns about board governance, misuse of funds, and deteriorating facilities as the reasons for the intervention. Filling in for Andrea Tice, I'm Tip Berg.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Hey folks, thank you for making CTE Outdoor Power a preferred dealer and Hustler one of the most popular riding mowers. Recently, I met a couple from Evergreen who discovered us because friends recommended both CTE and Hustler. They heard our team of friendly, helpful professionals would guide them to the Hustler model that's the best fit for them, and that because we support all the products we sell, we take the hassle out of future needed parts and service. They liked Hustler because of the highest quality and warranty, and that we partner with Hustler to offer 0% interest financing. Now, if you haven't discovered Hustler and CTE yet, now is the perfect time because this month, when you mention this ad, we'll pay the sales tax when you purchase any new riding mower. Folks, can you get all that anywhere else? CTE Outdoor Power, I-85 at Perry Hill Road and CTEOutdoorPower.com.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elf. Hey man, Mr. Elf, I was just wondering, what do elves do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Erdit. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the Afternoon, or as we're calling this show online, Joey Clark Live. If you're just tuning in online, a little over 300 people watching online. This is just a humble talk radio show out of Montgomery, Alabama. We cover local, state, national, international, and sometimes we just talk about everything that's on our minds. Yep. I'm Joey. That's Eddie.
That's me.
And our special guest today is Joe M. Reed, the attorney here, attorney at law. And you can follow him. What is it, Joe Reed Law on Twitter? You use Twitter much?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we've got a bunch of calls rolling in here. Let's go to Tanya. Hey, Tanya.
Hey, I usually don't call anybody out, but Duke really got underneath my skin. I don't care if the bullet grazed him, went through him, or what. If he turned his head anymore, he would have been shot. He would have been killed. He's got grandkids and kids. He's a human being. At first, I did not like Trump because of the way he talked to women, but guess what? He got in there and got stuff done. And as for Kamala, let her go in. We're happy about it. It's the Democrats that are, oh no, let's have it open and pick somebody else. Whoever gets in there, they're not going to do it. But I feel they're not going to let Trump in. Something's going to happen again. But that's my opinion. But Duke, shut your mouth.
Oh, goodness. Well, we got to do a live show here one of these days, too. Oh, he got to you.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the call, Tanya. I do.
All right,
Thank you, Tanya.
And this Trucker Al?
Trucker Al, yes.
Hey, Trucker Al, how you doing?
Hey, Joey, Darth Vader. Hey, I don't have much. There's one thing. I'm on what we call a mission from God.
Okay.
And that flows through my wife. You had a gal on your Sunday morning show a couple of months ago that does meat processing down somewhere around in Pike Road.
Yeah.
Can you give me the name of her business?
Goodness gracious!
Put him on. Let me put you on hold, Trucker Al. Give me a second. I can give you contact and everything.
Yeah, and it's more during hunting season when she does this. So that's I don't think they're doing it right now.
I hate to interrupt your show for a question.
No problem.
I think she runs a place called Shanna's Place.
Shanna's Place, yes.
I'm forgetting the name of the deer processing. It's a great charity. It really is.
Okay, Joey. But anyway, you don't have to put me back on the air. Just let Eddie come back on and give me the information.
I'll throw you on hold now. I appreciate the call, man.
Okay, thanks, buddy.
Thank you, Trucker Al.
Let's go to Randall. Hey, Randall, how you doing, man?
Hey, man. I'm living it. So,
you think? Well, the question I got for him is about the lawyers. Greg Phillips said that he's making up an account, and he's going to have. The way he's saying it is that the reason we couldn't do nothing, couldn't fight it, is because we didn't have no lawyers in place because of a lawsuit from the 80s. And I want to see if hopefully
a lawsuit about what? I think you're referring to the show before this, and I didn't hear that conversation. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
I was talking about as he heard any talk about somebody pulling him to come help, and Trump said Barron was going to start doing more with the campaign, and then that's the first time he was there was when Trump got shot, and he supposedly ain't been back since. I didn't know if that was kind of crazy or just a dad being a dad.
I think it's a dad being a dad. That is a little nuts. The first time you have your teenage son come join you, you get shot. That's got to be traumatizing, to say the least.
And a lot of talks about people being natural born, you know what I mean? Can you run and all this and that, because it started with Obama. But Barron's mom, she was naturalized. She ain't got natural born, but she was naturalized. And is any of this connecting, or is this all just kind of a coincidence that they kind of lined up like that?
I really don't even know what to say. Like I don't hear where you're coming from today, Randall.
Yes, sir.
I hope you're doing okay, man.
No, this didn't help me. Now I'm thinking I could articulate something and I couldn't. So it's the same way, man. I hate this.
Well, we got other guys, and you keep at it, man.
Yes, sir.
See you, Randall.
Keep praying for Randall. He's going through it, I think. Let's go to Jenny. Hey, Jenny, how you doing?
Hey, Joey. Hey, Eddie.
How you doing, Jenny?
I'm well. I'm on vacation this week, so I've got two things. First thing, this JD's book that is made into a movie is now on Netflix. I watched it last night. I would encourage every single person to watch Hillbilly Elegy. It's incredible what that man, as a child, as a young man, went through, and to come out where he is now is just incredible. Second thing was I watched the Secret Service director get absolutely pummeled by the left and the right during the hearings this morning. But in particular, I sent this to you, Joey, on Facebook. I don't do anything else other than that. But her name is, I think, Nancy Mays.
Oh, yeah.
She's from South Carolina.
Yeah, North Carolina. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I'm working in my house, just taking care of the dogs in the house. And, I screamed. It was just the most, she said yes or no questions. And she goes, oh, you're so full of blankety blank.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just kind of went, and she got kind of chastised for it by the head guy. What do you call him? I can't come up with the word. The chair. And he said, oh, we're trying to maintain decor in this thing. And she didn't even acknowledge.
I think she said something like, this is BS, but didn't just use the initials. And
she said it.
Oh, yeah. And I'm tired of this shaving cream, man.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah,
This is what I mean. You know, everyone's looking for, and she'll be on Twitter or she'll be quoted, and she'll get her likes up so she can, you know, try to turn that into being an influence. This is what I mean, the outrageous conduct to get attention. And this is what you're getting now.
Man, I feel like donating to her damn campaign.
And there you go.
Right.
And
it's working, right?
This is where we are. Yeah. Yeah.
I was cheering her on in my kitchen. I was like, whoa, she just said BS twice. It was so satisfying. I mean, literally, I was laughing and screaming. But that director, Cheatham, she was eating crow, eating worse than that.
Yeah, no, I saw a few, like Ro Khanna on the Democratic side was really giving it to her as well. And
What happens if she gets up and drops an F-bomb when she says that's BS and she goes, F you?
Well,
Why
there you
don't
go.
you get out here
We're
and
off to the races.
Why don't you get out here and try to do my job? You know, you probably couldn't pass the physical fitness, and she starts really giving you the business, the real business. I mean, where are we going at that point? Because I'm waiting for somebody to do that. And the next move is that somebody's going to get up and throw a chair.
Oh,
yeah.
And now it's WWE.
Yep.
Well, if she dropped the F-bomb, I'd still contribute. Not
Well,
that I agree with saying that, but
right.
it was just, God, it was so satisfying.
Well, I
So,
appreciate the
number
call,
one,
Jenny.
Watch the movie, and then number 2 is I sent it to you, Jay. Okay, great day, great call.
Thank you, Jenny.
Great show.
Bye, Judy.
Yeah, no, and it's become, I think some of it is back to that technology thing and the changing of media, to where now you can watch in high quality, long form, not folks cursing each other out, but they're just talking how people talk, where you normally would not have seen that in front of a camera in a high profile public setting. And of course, I'm thinking of folks like Rogan, but it's now many more shows than Rogan, where like you see high profile people just casually talking, and yeah, they use some salty language sometimes. And I think that is overflowing into our politics to a great deal. And I mean, Trump clearly broke the dam on this.
Well, yeah. And here's the thing, Joey, and this is where kids go to school and now use the same language that they hear every place else with their teachers, and their principals. And we wonder why we got discipline issues at school.
I would hope they get taught the same lesson I got taught when I tried it.
I was too scared. My dad had a belt that he could sling like Indiana Jones used his whip.
Yeah.
And I don't know. My dad wasn't that tall. I don't know how that belt was so long, but I swear to God, that belt had to be at least 10 feet long.
I remember getting whoopings and looking down. My dad was short, and I'm looking down, thinking, "This little man's whooping my butt."
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
It only took once for me.
I'm getting crushed here. I mean, I never would have,
Exactly.
I mean, but this is what I mean. It's someone was dying to say that. Dying to do that, and then they want to use the circumstance of the situation to kind of want to say justify, that kind of language. And look, I know we hear it on TV and stuff, but I'm just thinking in the environment, because I got to tell you, as a lawyer, you're not dropping that bomb in court.
Oh, right.
Right.
Oh,
I mean,
You can talk a lot, there's a lot of things we say off, but we know when we get out there, you tone that down. I don't care how mad you get, and I've been mad a lot of times. I've been fuming. But I've never, dropped bombs like that, because there are consequences for that. But here, you get rewarded. And I'm saying, so we wonder why our society is starting to, just disintegrate.
Well, and it strikes me as because you can think of many instances in this most recent Congress, but it just starts to strike me like, I'm sure we all know the couples that probably need to get divorced, but anything is the smallest little slight is okay. There's a big fight about it, and they're just sniping at each other constantly. And there's a lot of that now in our politics, just so much of it. I think also we might be looking back on the past with rose-colored glasses, because I think this has existed in many forms. There was a Goldilocks period after the war, post-war. And I think it's much more unusual than usual to have that sort of decorum. And then also now everybody has a microphone. You can go find even stuff during World War II, like protest songs against FDR in the war that are pretty salty.
Oh, they're pretty filthy.
Like the language and the disdain, and everything's been out there. Like, folks saying, oh, Trump wasn't really shot. I mean, there's reports of people cheering in Texas when JFK gets killed. So the ugliness is always there. I think we now just see it.
Okay, see it more cameras on it.
And it is bleeding into, I think, the younger generation who's hopping up there in Congress. I'm thinking of Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jasmine Crockett getting into it, and AOC hopping in, and Anna Paulina Luna jumping, and I'm like, what? Am I watching Jerry Springer?
Right. That's exactly what it is. When Trump gets in, this reality TV now is in the halls of Congress, and it's running the White House. And that's where we are. It is Springer. I'll go a step further before Springer. It's remember Morton Downey?
Morton Downey Jr.
I was going for that.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah,
it's Morton Downey.
It is. I gotta find it. There's a classic Ron Paul win on there, and they hate it.
Really?
Because he's a libertarian. It's like, you want to give the whole nation heroin and drugs. You don't care about my children. And Ron Paul looks at this guy and goes, well, maybe I should put you on a diet, you fatso. And I'm like, okay, it is entertaining. I'm like, but it's got a time and place, because it does seem to be bleeding into serious attention. Or it could be also that politics has always been kind of kayfabe. Like wrestling kayfabe. Like it's always been this sort of I'm going to knock you, you're going to knock me. Just the more we actually disagree, the more heated that sort of public sniping becomes.
I think it's. I mean, yeah, I don't disagree. I don't think it's always had conflicts, and I mean, human beings have that. But I think there's a different type of person in Congress now. It's a different type of person, and our statesmen and stateswomen, are far and few in between now. And that's what we were talking off the air about. Even look at the RNC. Look who's got primetime seats, and look who's not there. Group of them, I'm just saying, Mitt Romney was a different guy.
Oh yeah,
he's not there. I can never see Mitt Romney doing stuff that Marge Taylor Greene does. Never see that.
Oh no, I don't think he'd ever do that.
What I call one of the, in my opinion, one of the first families of the Republican Party, of course, the Bushes. None of them.
None of them were there.
Right. None of them were there. This is Trump's party.
Oh yeah.
This is Trump's party.
Yeah, but those weren't people that were really pro-Trump to begin with.
So no, but I'm saying but they've been moved out of the party. They're out. That's why they're not there. They're gone. It's
a different party though, and I think that we were talking about how senators are kind of getting more edgy and more pushing each other a little bit more. I think for one, or maybe it's both sides, they feel like they have been statesmen for so long that nothing's gotten done, so out of frustration. And when you get frustrated, you say stupid things. I do it all the time. So I wonder how much of that is involved, where they feel like their representatives are telling them, you're just sitting there on your butt, you're not doing nothing. They want to see the engagement. I don't know if it gets anything done anymore, but there are times when I see one of my representatives do that, Tommy Tuberville, I'm like, yeah, I'm I'd love to see the statesman in everyone the whole time, but after a while you get tired of, you feel like you're taking a beating. You want somebody to stand up and go, hey,
it's emotion. It's an emotional, cathartic sort of feeling. Yeah, I get it. But then the opposite, I don't think I've ever heard, say, Senator Brett, heard Katie Brett say nasty things. She's done the usual political stuff.
That last one with the elevator was really good, though.
Oh, that was hilarious.
That was just,
I missed that.
Some activist walked up to her in the halls of Congress and said, "Can I get a selfie?" and started filming this way and goes, "Why do you support big oil so much, Senator?" And Katie takes a step back and goes, "Oh, you asked for a selfie, and now you ask me that? How dishonest of you!" Anyway.
It was really good.
And she just started talking about, well, we need to get our energy prices down, and as the elevator's closing, and we need. It was the biggest bless your heart.
That's funny.
And so I think there are some people up there that still want to keep that decorum. I know Katie's reached out to a lot of people in the Democratic Party in the Senate, become good friends with John Fetterman, of all folks. So there are folks who still want to make it work up there. It's just, I don't know, maybe we are heading towards idiocracy, where to get people to pay attention, you got to have a show.
Yeah, and I think that's what, and we're rewarding that, and I think that's where that's where the show is overriding the substance, and part of the show I think is hurting people's feelings, and people are getting upset about it, and then that makes them want to cooperate with you less on the fear that you're going to show me up or embarrass me or something. I'm just not going to talk to you, and that's not how that government is going to. The government can't function that way. It simply cannot.
I agree, but we also have those same people, and every one of them up there that. If they have a good idea that's really good for the country, a lot of times they won't present it because it might make the other side look just as good as well. And I can't stand that. I can't stand the party over country. And that's, to me, where we're really failing.
I agree.
And our leadership's really failing.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, I've never been a term limit guy because I think elections take care of that. As long as you got election lead term limits, you only need them where you don't have them. But I totally agree with you, Eddie. It is, if you got good ideas, don't belong to individuals, don't belong to political parties. They're just good ideas that just work. And if it works, then let's try it. And sometimes if we have disagreed that we want to go, here in Montgomery, we want to go out to East Chase, and Eddie, you decide you want to, get on Carmichael Road and then go down the boulevard and then hang a left on Taylor. And I'm like, oh, Eddie, it's fast. We just, hit 85 right here on Perry Hill and get there sooner. And we can go back and forth about it. But at some point, we're not moving.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And so, I might say, okay, Eddie, it's going to be traffic, but I'm going to go your way. We'll just see what happens when we get there.
And I just thought of one guy here that I think he walks the line of this new age we're in almost perfectly, is Senator John Kennedy. Because, like you mentioned, when when is somebody going to say F you? Like, he had somebody in front of him for a committee hearing. And he goes, you said F me, and he used the abbreviation. You said F me on Twitter. Would you like to say it to my face right now? And he does it with a dose of humor and almost like understanding. He's an old school kind of Southern politician, and maybe that should be the approach. You can tell jokes, you can rip on people, but it's got to be couched in "I still love you" at the end of the day.
Now, Kennedy has been skewering everybody's judicial picks.
Oh yeah,
the Senate. Have you ever watched him?
Oh yeah.
He is not. Nobody gets a pass in there. He took President Trump's picks to task. It was one guy just did, and he took President Biden's picks to task. He just and asking legitimate questions that you ought to know to be a judge. This is serious business, and I've got no problem with him in a committee here because it's not. I mean, just because it's Republican doesn't make him wrong.
Right.
I mean, he's asking, and any lawyer knows he's asking the right questions for the folks who are going to be making the decisions, and people are just failing. That's just the truth of the matter. On both sides, they're just failing.
Yep.
And but Kennedy, no, he's no joke.
Yeah, that he's always got a line for something. Well, they're trying to make this cat walk backwards here, but Biden's politically as dead as fried chicken. And I'm like, okay, that's just fantastic.
He's a funny guy.
Who do you think is a true rising star in the Democratic Party that other folks, especially conservatives, don't know about?
Now that's something. You know, Democrats have a history of staying on the scene, in my opinion, way past longer than they should, and certainly eating their own. I think we just saw that the last 3 weeks. You just saw that, because there was a difference in how Republicans dealt with Trump and his issues versus Democrats dealt with Biden and his issues. Two diametrically different things. Okay.
With that being said, we did see Biden seemed to be where the press was his best friend until they weren't, until someone said you can get him. And they just seemed to, for the last 3 weeks, just pile on.
You know what it is? It's like having a mistress that you didn't buy the right purse for. Okay? And now she got to talking.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah.
You didn't keep her happy. Yeah.
You didn't keep her happy. I mean, she was happy last week, but this is a different week.
What have you done for me lately?
Right. And you... Dude, you brought home the wrong one. You went on Home Shopping Network, but you didn't go to, Saks.
Right.
And it wasn't Gucci. It was something else. And now you're paying the price for it. I think Maryland's governor, sharp guy. I can't think of his name. Like I said, I'm trying to keep all these names with me. But sharp guy, I think. And again, I'm like really going on when I say age. I just think when I say rising star, I think of people who are just new to the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Kelly.
Right. Okay. Oh, there you go.
I like Mark Kelly. I still like Senator Warner out of Virginia, Mark Warner. I still like Mark Warner.
Wes Moore is the governor of Maryland.
Wes Moore, that's who it is. Wes Moore. I think there's some folks who we just have not seen yet, because politics timing is so important.
Yes.
And if you try to do something at the wrong time, it can sweep you into oblivion. I mean, it can just kill you. And then you can just be the right person at the right time, and your trajectory is just crazy. I mean, I'll tell you this, and I'll go back to this. Jack Ryan. Do you remember Jack Ryan, who ran for Senate in Illinois?
Not off the top of my head, I do.
All right. Who's a Trekkie? Anybody a Trekkie?
A little bit.
Remember the chick who was the board chick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Jerry Ryan. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Jack Ryan was married to her.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Good for that,
all right.
dude.
Impressive already.
I want to vote for him already.
Yeah, impressed already.
So here's what I'm saying. So Jack Ryan, if you talk about a guy who was what I call scripted to be president, okay? His name is Jack Ryan, okay? I'm just saying. Handsome guy, smart guy, worked with inner city kids in Chicago, Republican. I would say he was Republican and name had a lot of what I call socially liberal things that he did, if you will. Okay. And he was the leading candidate for that Senate race that Barack Obama was in. And he was smashing Obama. A lot of people don't remember that. Smashing Obama until his divorce went public with Jerry Ryan.
And that was leaked too.
Yeah. And the intimate allegations that came out of that.
Like sex clubs and stuff.
Sex clubs and that sort of a thing.
Yeah.
And which, of course, fast forward today, you're like,
what?
Right. But so you look at, that's a turning on a dime, because this guy, if Ryan is the senator, Illinois, if he wins that election, and that's 2004.
Mm-hmm.
He wins 2004. Ryan could easily, I'm going to fast forward because Bush is 2004, 2008. Watch Jack Ryan, who is probably a VP candidate in 2008. Is
that right?
Okay, yeah, he was that guy. Jack Ryan was that dude. He was that dude. And he was, I mean, I will say this. He was a Republican Jack Kennedy. How about that?
Really?
That was the feeling about Jack Ryan at the time. He was that dude. Timing.
Yep.
Dismissed.
Time. You haven't heard anything from him. You didn't know who I was talking about.
Nope.
That's exactly what I mean.
Nope.
And then I think Barack Obama created the mold that you could hop into the U.S. Senate, get the national media, especially if you're a great communicator and like you're good on camera, and you can hop into the White House very quickly. I mean, it's already said that every time a senator combs their hair, they get thoughts of being the president in their eyes. And and so you now see with J.D. Vance, like was there in the Senate less than Obama.
Yeah.
And I think you look at Cruz and Rand Paul ran, and like there was even folks talking about Senator Brett being chosen as a VP. Like it seems like it's happening very quick that you get that young person who is compelling. They get that, and you're right. It's all that timing. There's always a little bit of luck involved in all this.
You just right when I say right place. I mean, well, look at President Trump, who never held any political office.
Right.
You know. By the way, I got a copy of a check that he wrote to Kamala Harris.
Is that right?
Really?
No crap. I'll send it to you. I got the check where he through her campaign, and it's 2011. It's Donald Trump.
Nice.
So this really interesting stuff to be talked about coming up. But yeah, I got that. But yeah, I mean, the traditional ways we used to, those rules are out the window now.
Yeah.
They're just out the window. So who's the rising star, Joey? Who knows?
Right. Okay.
Tomorrow's another day.
Yeah. Especially now. There's so much going on in the Democratic Party.
Right. It's just wide open. And I think we have to see, and these things have to work themselves out. And like I said, I think it's timing. I think the 2020, when we had 20 something, Democrats had 20 something candidates in there, that was just, in my opinion, it was just awful.
Too much?
It was just, you couldn't even digest. It was too many people. You just couldn't, you didn't want to listen and look. And I think that hurt a lot of people because it was too many people, too much shouting. Nobody could be heard.
Get the idea across,
you know, you got to have a smaller field, you know. And the only reason I think President Trump became the Republican nominee is because he had the apprentice. He had the show.
Right.
There, in my humble opinion, there were more people who were, if you would, more qualified, if you would, who knew more about the presidency. But here's a guy who's on TV every day, who people have gotten to know.
4 or 5 years before then. So everybody got to know him. I mean, I agree with you on that.
Trump
100%.
also has, I think Scott Adams is right on this. Trump is like one of the most, maybe it's natural, maybe he learned it, one of the most persuasive people out there. He does a lot of things that they would teach you and say, Scott Adams is a trained hypnotist. Like a lot of repetition, a lot of very vivid imagery, and also frame control. I think it all goes back to that first Republican debate where Megyn Kelly is asking about, you've called women slobs, fat pigs. I think that destroys any other politician.
Right.
Think of Michael Bloomberg a cycle or so ago was destroyed by Elizabeth Warren and all those things he came out saying. What was it?
Fat broads and horse-faced lesbians.
Right, yeah, and that he crumbled. When Trump is presented that, what does he do? He interrupts, he goes, only Rosie O'Donnell.
He flips the script and makes a joke, yeah.
And that whole room dies, and I think that's where folks are going to try to capture that lightning in the bottle in the same way. I think in a lot of ways, Trump is unique, just like Reagan's unique, just like Obama's unique. Like you can't recreate these personalities.
No, Clinton's the same way.
Bill, yeah, that first presidency, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
super
Clinton,
persuasive.
You're 100% right on that.
And to your point, who would have known the name Vivek Ramaswamy before this cycle? And for the guy to come out of nowhere and get 8% in Iowa, being also a Indian and Hindu, it's I think impressive, and I suspect that's going to happen on the Democratic side, that independently wealthy folks, and there are a lot of them who donate to Democrats, would jump in and just do it themselves.
I think you're going to see more and more of that. That can be both, troubling and, it can also be inspiring in the same breath. If you're a guy like an Elon Musk who's got enough money to fund a campaign himself, he can take anything from anybody. He can tell special interests to go play in the traffic.
Well, he does that with advertisers now.
And so now, I think he said he was giving Trump like $45 million a month.
Yeah, in the Super PAC.
I don't know if that's, I'm assuming it's true. I don't know if it's actually true, but assuming it's true.
Put out there.
I mean, but going back to what we talked about earlier, how does that affect the average Alabama voter, how do you compete with that? You know, what do you can't. Either that person's got to have something in them to make them actually want to help you, or do you want to be in charge? Because when you got that kind of money, there's something else for you.
Right.
You got enough houses, cars, things, all the material stuff that a lot of us aspire to have, you know, paying for things, that's not on your radar. Man, you're way past that. Right. So now it is, the only thing left is something like the presidency. I always tell people, rich people do this stuff because the cares that normal people have of bills and things of that nature, they don't have those worries. So they can afford to, you know, do this stuff. But in my opinion, it's kind of when Bush 41, you know, the loaf of bread thing, you know, got in his way.
Yeah.
Because he seemed a little bit, when, you know, detached from normal
From
folks.
reality.
From
Yeah.
reality, right. So, you know, you get these people, you know, who do that. And so now I'm a billionaire. God, there's so many more billionaires now than there've ever been. You know, this is the only thing that's left for them to do. You know, because on that, we don't do it because we're not billionaires. But when you have houses in every country, my dad was really good friends with Jay Rockefeller. And Jay said that the best thing that ever happened to him was marrying his wife, who's from West Virginia. So Jay
A
was
little bit
doing
of
that.
humbling.
Well, Jay, what he told my dad was, he said that, you know, he said, Joe, we have houses in France and Italy, in England, and all over the world. I mean, compounds all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
He said he didn't understand until he married his wife in terms of what average Americans go through.
Right.
I mean, he never had that issue. And so I say all that to say, when you've got a Ramaswamy, someone like that, other billionaires who get in this, you know, how do they connect with what the average Alabama person has to? How does government help the average Alabama voter? I'm always glad, you know, when we get money to help people here who need it. If you tell somebody you want to know Alabama, ride down 43, all right, from down in West Alabama.
Yeah.
Ride down, take that highway, take 431. When I went going to the beach and went down 231, then shot down through all that, and go back through there and see how what Alabama really is and what those folks need. And so, how does government help those folks do better? You know. And that's, I guess, at least from my ideas of the Democratic Party, my ideas as an individual, is how do you make government do good for people? That's good English. I don't know if it is written, but how do you do that? And how does it not become a tool to impose your will on people, or some sort of, you know, to be in control of something where the government, your salary is $500,000, whatever it is for the presidency now, but you're in control of how many $1 billion of the contracts that other folks can get rich off of.
Right.
You know, but while the average person who needs help on a iron drug that doesn't make them sick, you know, that my significant other just sells an iron drug, and so this drug costs $200 to make. They sell it for $2,000.
Right.
200.
Well, a lot of things, just as me, as just a blue collar guy, the biggest thing the government could do for me, and absolutely refuses to, just get out of my way. Just get out of my way.
It's fair, and I think I'm all about doing that. But I think, like, because we live in this society that we live in, there will always be a need for a jail.
Oh, certainly, 100%.
And things because people will act crazy and do crazy stuff.
We have freedom. That's what freedom allows.
And so the government has to have rules, and we got to enforce those rules. And but because we're human beings, those things are done imperfectly. You know, they just are.
Yeah, and we do have time. I got to hit another break, but there's a great writer out there in the libertarian world. I think a Georgetown law professor named John Hasnas. His famous essay is "The Myth of the Rule of Law." It actually somewhat intersects in a odd way with Derek Bell and critical race theory, and how the objective or nominal rules on the page aren't actually how the system plays out. But he is in the camp, and in my ideal world, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, is that you can pretty much get everything done through common law. That it would be a constant, and there would actually even be competitions between courts. And part of our problem, and this is more your world than mine, Joe, but like I look at our court system and it seems sort of constipated, backed up, expensive. Like you have all these wealthy people we were just talking about, they have private arbitration for a lot of their disputes because they don't want to get involved in that. And I think some of that has to do with The question you raise is tension of if you give a monopoly, essentially to a particular function. And when we think of government, it's usually the most important functions like military and courts and prisons and just upholding the law. What is the outcome? Is it going to be like any other good or service that ends up having a deteriorating effect over time? And how can you inject more competition into that world? I don't know, but it just, I can see the problems. Looking into J.D. Vance recently over the weekend, one point he makes in the book, Hillbilly Elegy, is he saw firsthand with his own mother and others, how much does it help a heroin addict if you're giving them a grand or so for welfare? Like, there are certain systems of welfare that, yeah, there are people that need that. They get their life back together. They go on and have had great success. They really are in need and they change their life. But there are others who get that check and that's all they get. And right. Are we enabling awful behavior in that regard?
Look, valid point, valid discussion, hard, and and the truth lies on both ends. They're both true. Yep. They're both. The reality is they're both true. Yeah, you do.
Well, I got to hit this break. So before I hit the break, this part of the program brought to you by River Region Contracting. And they're at River Region Contracting. Well, Todd Clark and the team there are ready to help you with that roof of yours. That's even right. A sloped roof they can handle. Even a sloped one. And whether it's asphalt or metal roof, you should get it inspected every 3 to 5 years for basic preventative maintenance. Eddie and I have been recommending, though, do it every year. Have it on an annual basis.
The extreme kind of weathers that we have, yeah, why not?
Well, and the beautiful thing is when you work with River Region Contracting, their inspections and estimates are always free.
Absolutely free, Joe.
And they're a team of insurance specialists, so if they do find a problem with your roof, your insurance might cover. They can walk you through the claims process and make it an easy and swift experience. So check them out today. You can always call them at 356-8635. That's 356-8635. And be sure to tell Todd and the team there at River Region Contracting that Joey and Eddie, those fellas on the radio, sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
At Thompson Tractor, we love being here, in the neighborhood, working alongside you, helping you, serving your needs, growing right along with you. No matter the size of your project, we have a complete inventory of small to mid-sized machines to help you tackle any job. Fact is, Thompson Tractor is your go-to source for the best equipment in the business. Legendary Cat machines like compact track loaders, dozers, excavators, and more. And when you buy Cat yellow iron, you're backed by Thompson's trusted service and support from day one. We're all about boosting your productivity and your bottom line. Always have been. Always will be. Like right now, with financing starting at 0% on all compact equipment. Whether you're just starting out or have been at it for a while, if growing is where you're going, let's get going together. Visit ThompsonTractor.com for details and locations. Thompson Tractor, we're here for you.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Rich Thomas weather brought to you by H&H Carpets, where you will find a complete line of Mohawk carpet with exceptionally clean, smart strand fiber. It's always available and ready to be installed. H&H Carpets, across from Walmart on the Atlanta Highway.
Rich Thomas weather.
Hi, everybody. Hopefully we're going to see some improvement in our drought situation after several days of better than normal rain chances. That more generous than normal rain chance continues well into the evening hours tonight. The storms will be random. Overnight low temperature down to about 72. And tomorrow, we'll do it again with highs in the upper 80s to near 90 tomorrow and Wednesday, by the way. Lows at night in the low 70s and a generous supply of showers and thunderstorms. Random, most numerous in the afternoon and evening hours. Not much change on Thursday and Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Web Bobo with Capital Tractor. Soon we'll be moving to a brand new location in Montgomery. During our big moving sale, get a great deal on a Kubota with 0% APR up to 84 months with approved credit. Now through September 30th, 2024. See Capital Tractor in Montgomery or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details.
Hello, everyone. Robbie Pelt with Capital City Roofing. If you think about it, your home is your biggest investment in life. Your roof covers your home, so why jeopardize your biggest investment on a roofer you don't know anything about when you can deal with a reputable roofing company like Capital City Roofing? We have an A+ Better business rating and the best manufacturers and workmanship warranties available. We do all residential and commercial roofing applications that are certified through the manufacturer to ensure you get the best material and workmanship money can buy. We also have your project in our best interest before and after construction has been done. Don't hesitate to call us if you have any roofing issues or questions. We will match any of our competitors' price and give you the same great workmanship warranty. We also give free estimates. Give us a call today and let us show you the difference. 277-3311. That's 277-3311. Or you can check us out on the web at www.capitalcityroofing.com. Capital City Roofing. We capitalize the roofing industry.
Trustworthy, accurate, immediate. Carrying your voice across the river region. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Excuse me, folks. I ran out of time there, and with the music, and we were talking off air. And anyway, hey, this part of the program, real quick, brought to you by Clearwater's Property Management.
That's right.
Reed Waters and the team there, ready to help you with tree removal, tree trimming, pruning, and stump grinding. So that ugly stump in the way, well, it not only can be ugly, it can attract termites, snakes, all sorts of stuff.
Yep.
And of course, if you are getting, say, your driveway blocked by overgrowth or branches overhanging the house or constantly hitting the house during a storm,
You don't need that.
That can all be pruned back. And maybe you noticed that tree needs to be removed. It's about to tip over, cause a big old problem.
Well, lightning might have struck it.
They can help you there at Clearwater's Property Management. So give them a call today.
My neighbor's got one with lightning strike that happened this weekend. So, yeah, he's going to have to
goodness.
call and get about a 40-footer took down.
That number, 430-0376. It's 430-0376. And be sure to tell them, well, you heard about them here on the radio with Joey and Eddie. Man, we've talked about almost everything under the sun. Not quite, but we're getting there. Joe Emreid here in the studio with us. So I'm trying to think a good way to end this thing, because where we are in this country. Because I'll put it this way. There are folks who are hysterical on the right and the left, and maybe not without, sometimes have reasons to be, who worry we're not going to survive this election. We're not going to survive if things keep going a certain way. Do you think that's overblown? Or, like, where do you think the country is going? Do we actually survive this division and all the stuff we talked about over the last couple hours?
Yeah, I think we survive it. I mean, we've seen tougher, I think, times. Now, I mean, you go back I can't imagine what it was like in '68, during the Vietnam era. And I'm sure people you watch Martin King get killed, you watch Bobby Kennedy get killed, you watch John F. Kennedy. These things happen all in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what would make you think what tomorrow would be like with, if your name was Kennedy, how do you go outside your door?
Right.
And so, and I think we don't appreciate that part of it, but I think now, sure, I think we get through where we are. I think what we always have to remember, as the outrageousness, as we are rewarded for being outrageous, and the more outrageous we are now, the better off we are, is that we have to be civil, and we have to talk to each other, we have to talk with each other, and it is okay to disagree without being disagreeable.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot to learn, and nobody has all the ideas. Nobody's
Mhm.
always right. And so, and we have to get back to what I call compromising, and I always told us that a good settlement is where both sides leave the table and nobody's really happy.
That's right.
I always tell clients, look, you can get more, but you can also get less.
Yep.
Right.
And it just depends on what you want to do. So, I think we have to continue to dialogue, and I think we have to try different things and not get so vested in candidates, so personally vested that we take them on in our personas, that they become who would define who we are as individuals. Don't always, there's a court case, I can't remember, but the judge said, we know as judges what we know as men. And he was talking about discrimination, things how the realities of what life is like.
Mhm.
And so we all know, we just can't use our common sense about what happens out here and who your favorite political person is. I mean, I don't have one of those. I just, it's a job to be done, and they're not perfect. They're fallible just like everybody else is. And so we just got to keep that, I think, in mind, and keep the dialogue open, and leaders have to lead. Okay. And the job and staying in the job can't be more important than doing the job.
Agreed.
Amen. And I think a big problem, and this is beyond just government, I think it's in a lot of our major institutions, is number one, we've mentioned before, a certain generation, I mean, I don't blame them, don't want to give up the reins. Like, I'm still capable, I'm still here kicking, I earned this job. And you're talking in the university system with deans, you're talking in the media systems, and across the board. But not only are there folks who have been there a long time who are not giving up the reins, you're also seeing folks that more want to manage the problem instead of actually solve problems.
Yeah.
So everything is just managed over time. We'll kick it to the next thing. Everything's process. And I'm like, where are the visionary leaders that actually get things done? I'm not calling for like a dictator to go kick butts or something. I just mean somebody who doesn't take any gruff and goes, yeah, I know y'all have been doing it that way for a few decades, but maybe we tried something different. It's the part of folks like Elon Musk, or I mentioned Eric Weinstein earlier, where you do a first principles building. Like you build a business or you build an idea from first principles, and then we try this anew, because sometimes it feels like we're dealing with the baggage of at least decades, if not longer, and it holds us back.
Yeah, I agree with you about that. And where are the leaders? Well, those leaders have to have help, and leaders have to have support from the community, and they don't have all the ideas. They can't do it themselves. It's 24 hours in a day for everybody. And you've got to have folks vested in what goes on, and you got to have a democracy is only successful if people actually participate in
Yep.
it. And right now our participation level,
pathetic.
Eddie, you
It's
said
pathetic.
that's just really weird. So don't get mad, if things don't change, and understand how it works. It's a representative democracy, and even because if you vote, it doesn't mean that thing is going to happen, because there are other opinions out there.
All right.
That's very true.
And but I think that we've got some misunderstandings about that. But we'll get through as we always have. And Ben Franklin said, I'll give you a republic, I think, if you can keep it, and I'll hope to keep it. But I think the moral things that we were taught as children from church, if you win, if you didn't, and what your folks told you, I think all parents, no matter who they are, want to raise their children to be good, honest, decent people. That's what they want. They need to know right from wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And just don't let that get in the way, of something as petty as a label.
Amen.
As a political tribe, that was here before you got here, that will be here long after you are gone, and other folks will have the position.
Well, and I try to really, years ago, the old feminist phrase, the personal is political. The personal is the political. I amended that a little bit, saying, no, the personal eclipses the political. And it's led me to do odd things with this, I think, show. Eddie can attest to this, is I will, like that quote we play at the beginning of the show, damn politicians in general, and folks say in government and in other fields of life. I will say, here's the incentives, here's how power corrupts, here's the games y'all play, you all know you play them. But I try to hate the game and not the players, and understand these are still, some people have more to blame than, get dirty, and they have to own up to their own actions. But I try to remember that person sitting across from me is a person who probably, if we sit down and have a beer together or whatever, we're going to agree on a heck of a lot. And there, again, this is me living in fantasy land. There are moments where I go, man, if we didn't spend all this time, money, billions of dollars, energy, talent that goes into the political process, what if those same folks tried to solve, say, issues with like water sanitation in West Alabama?
Right.
Like, and it doesn't require election or convince some folks and all the propaganda. It's like, no, we just got good minds. We got the money. Let's go solve the problem.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we get distracted by the show of it all. It makes us feel important or something like that. But pretty much out of time here. We got to do one more segment with a sponsor. But I appreciate your time, Joe. Really do. This flew by today.
No, it's no problem. My pleasure. I wasn't working today. I just said, there goes the rest of the day. Let me just get out of here. So I'll go back to the office and try to figure out how to do something. It's nothing.
Come on back, man. Don't be a stranger. I
I
really enjoy you being here.
Love to. Likewise.
Yeah, it's not like the news is interesting.
Right.
We need to talk.
Well, next time I probably want to get back here. Two things would have happened. The Democrats would have met to kind of, in my opinion, what they're going to do, which is go ahead and give the nomination to Kamala Harris. Then there'll be the convention, which won't be much of a convention. It'll be a glorified party, and there'll be some barbs thrown and some, stuff thrown out there. And, after that, things will start moving. But of course, then it'll be football season.
That's right.
And, I'm glad basketball season's over because I was still basketball season is something folks watch between football.
Yep, that's right.
Nobody really cares.
Hey, man.
Who won the NBA championship this year? I bet y'all don't even know.
I can't even tell you. Couldn't tell you.
Wow, Joe, you looking
Could
at the
not
ceiling.
tell you.
No, I watched it.
And you're not. You're,
It
you and
wasn't
your
the
grandfather
Mavericks. It
and
was.
you're
It was the Celtics.
and
Yeah,
you're- and
they
you're
won
not
4.
Oh, it was
Hey,
Celtics.
look,
I
I
remember
don't think you
Portnoy
can
was
figure
at
that
the
out.
parade.
Who won the Super Bowl last year, Joey?
I don't even remember.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, you got me on that one.
KC, right?
Kansas City.
KC, man.
Oh yeah, I watched that too.
Yeah.
No, I've gotten to
You did
where
too,
I thought I was old.
I'm running out
forgot
of time
everything.
here, but I used to get so pissed at my dad. Like, why don't you care about the football game so much? And I've become just like him. The older I get, it's like, Joey, did you watch a game? No, I watched like a battlefield breakdown of Napoleon's battle at Waterloo. Like, other things interest me, and there's only so much time in the day. I watch sports with my grandfather though.
Oh,
But-
good for him. I'm sure he enjoys that with you. Wrap your arms around him, tell him that you love him.
Well, I appreciate it, Joe. We got to hit this break. Be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
I'm Cam Marston. My radio show and podcast called What's Working with Cam Marston focuses on the workplace, workforce, and marketplace trends shaping Alabama business. My guests tell their stories and discuss their business expertise in such a way that you and I can learn from them and apply it to our own world. Listen to What's Working with Cam Marston each Saturday at noon right here on News Talk 93.1.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
At Guardian Credit Union, we believe that banking should be personal, just like the relationships we build with members. Imagine a place where you're not just a credit score, but a valued part of our community. At Guardian, our dedicated team takes the time to listen, understand, and tailor financial solutions that fit your unique needs. From buying a car to saving for college and even starting a small business, we've got you covered. Come experience the Guardian difference and let's achieve your financial goals together. Guardian Credit Union, where you belong. Federally insured by NCUA.
Headlines the mainstream media won't touch. Your News Talk station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Welcome back. Oh, this show has flown by.
It sure has, man.
Let's go right to phone talk to Ray Bowles from Bradville Carpet. Hey, Ray.
Man, you talking about flying by. This day has just been a blur.
Is that right?
Well, Terry got me. He took off this week to go to the beach with his family. He took 36 people to the beach.
I hope he
don't
took a lot of
understand
sunblock because Jerry's a little bit of a pale ale. Let's be honest.
that. And most of his family are all Scottish. They're both-
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But so normally a day in my life, we get everybody out at 7:30 to head to your house. As soon as they leave, we're getting tomorrow ready. And the golden rule is don't install anything when you're on vacation, but this had to go in. We had to have it done. And the floor's not here because he never ordered it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And then make matters worse, it was one of my builders that I personally deal with.
Oh.
One of those days.
What was going on? I'm like, how did this happen that you saw one of my builders, I didn't even know, and you didn't even order the floor? That's sabotage. And he's at the beach.
Well,
yeah, so you
probably
think
a good
you
place
had a
to
bad
be.
day? Yeah. But you know what? The good thing is we roll it one day. It'll be here on Wednesday. We'll get it on Wednesday, and everything's fine. Because that's how we roll around here. We put out fires quickly, and half time you don't even know there was a fire going on.
there you go. And that number's still 285-8117?
If you call us, please don't ask for Terry.
Oh, I appreciate you, Ray. It'll be a good day tomorrow. Thank you, sir.
Have a great day.
See you, Ray.
Bye.
Oh, we went over time. I'm sorry, Greg.
He looks mad.
We'll be back tomorrow. Greg is next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Coosa.